Hello and welcome to Breakfast Central. It's another day, midweek. Some call it hump day. But we're back. Ready?
I don't like that name.
Why? Why don't you like it?
I don't know. I just don't like it. Why is hump day?
Well, the bell of conscience has been rung. That means we have to be serious. This morning, good morning to you wherever you're watching. It's a rainy day in the city of aquatic splendor, the center of excellence at Lagos State. And I'm sure a lot of you are probably making your way to work today. Well, we have a lot in store for you. And today is Wednesday. Wednesday for me is Women Crush Wednesday, and I would like to dedicate today's Women Crush Wednesday to somebody that is very dear and special to us, yes, on this program. She brings in the life, she's a legal luminary, and she makes things happen. Ladies and gentlemen,
let's put our hands together for
Olive Emodi. My Women Crush Wednesday.
Only the women. So what do I have the pleasure of all this watching?
Your intelligence is more than that of one woman. That's why I gave you Women Crush Wednesday.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Benga. Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you to our virtual audience. Thank you.
And you're so lucky you get to wear like beautiful, radiant colors. We have to just look like policemen.
Have you noticed what color
German
I'm doing
police
this week?
or Nigerian police?
Nigerian police is your friend. Have you noticed what color I'm doing this week?
Not really. We don't pay attention to women's
Joe,
clothing
have
like
you
that.
noticed?
Except our wives' clothing. How do you want us to notice? We are married.
Sorry.
now.
Because I tried to do one color.
Ask other guys.
But this week I'm doing the rainbow. On Monday I wore red. Yesterday I wore orange. Today is green and yellow. Tomorrow you already know what color.
Sorry, we don't notice.
What is it?
Look,
Purple.
we don't notice
Blue,
this.
roy blue.
Oh, okay.
Like
we don't
rainbow
notice
colors.
this. When I look at you, all I see is your intelligence, your brain, and your heart. Your nice heart, that's all. And your intellect.
Okay. Thank you so
Beauty
much
is
for
in the eye
all
of the builder. Your builder is outside.
the lie. This one, everybody's the beholder.
Okay,
Let's be serious.
Welcome
Yes.
to Breakfast Central.
All right, thank you very much for joining us this morning. If it's your first time tuning in to Breakfast Central, I am Olive Emodi. To my left is Benga Borowa, to my right is Joe Hansen, and this is Breakfast Central. We're delighted to have you. We take comments on YouTube where we stream live. News Central TV Live is the channel on YouTube. And at some point, much later on in the show, we'll open the phone lines for you to call in and share your thoughts. But let's start with bringing you update. News Central Town Hall, ahead of the News Central Town Hall scheduled to take place in Jos, the capital of Plateau State, on Thursday, that is tomorrow. News Central's team, ably led by our editor-in-chief and managing director, Mr. Kayode Akintemi, alongside members of the team, paid a courtesy call to the governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Governor Caleb Mutfwang, who graciously hosted the team and also granted an exclusive live interview yesterday where he spoke and addressed key issues, particularly with regards to the state of insecurity that had ravaged the state, especially in recent times, and efforts being made to address them. Let's take a look.
From the recent incident of Rukuba. As a matter of fact, the Rukuba incident happened because Jos has been peaceful. Because when there is peace in a particular location, one of the indices by which you know it is the absence of security personnel. And because of the level of peace we had attained, particularly within Jos City, the Rukuba lies in the belt where we didn't need the presence of security personnel because everybody was going about his life normally. Unfortunately, we were blindsided. And to tell you that many of these attacks were and are still orchestrated, very intentional, and they continue to acquire different dimensions. I'm glad you mentioned we're in the season of elections. One of the reasons we feel strongly Rukuba happened is a strategic attempt to dislocate the direction the people of the Middle Belt may have chosen for 2027. We believe that there's a political motive behind it. because time has come when we must disaggregate the different tendencies within Nigeria. Today, we are having a lot of terrorist incursions into the southern part of Plateau, particularly in Kadam and Wase. Now, it will interest you to know that Kadam and Wase are largely Muslim populated. But the terrorists that are attacking them are not attacking them because of their faith. They are attacking them because there's a land to grab, there are minerals to grab. What is happening in Kadam and Wase today are pure acts of terrorism. And so 80%, I can say, of the insecurity challenge on the plateau are pure acts of terrorism. And terrorism is a crime against humanity. And we must continue to see these terrorists as enemies of state. And so one of the quiet enablers of this crisis is political opportunism. And when it is coming to election season like this, it is not surprising that some of these things get heightened. And as a government, we are determined to stop such opportunists and ensure that we create room for dialogue. We create room for this kind of conversation that you want to have around the town hall. There are two outstanding events that occurred in the history of Plateau. Maybe more, but two that come to recent memory. The slaughter of about 500 people in one night in Dogonahawa. And recently, the Bokos massacre on Christmas Day in 2023. We have wept, but we know that weeping is not the solution. We are determined to be able to bring succor to our people. People would not know this. In December, because of the efforts we have put on ground, we were able to detect those who wanted to deploy improvised devices, bombs, to hit places of worship during Christmas in December. And that's why, no matter, sometimes the security agencies fall on the wrong side of the communities. But by and large, they have been doing a fantastic job.
That's the Governor of Plateau State, Governor Caleb Mutfwang, who hosted a new central team ahead of our town hall that's coming up on Thursday. But you must recall that, he spoke about a number of things, talked about the massacre of 500 people in one day, talked about the Bokos massacre in 2023. And in the most recent times, we can, Angwan Rukuba, we can start to trace a number of the attacks that have happened in Plateau State and the reactions. But one of the largest criticism we have seen, especially gauging social media reaction from Nigerians regarding the attacks. First of all, if you remember, Governor Caleb Mutfwang moved to the APC saying he was trying to align himself with the center. And he did at some point, the president, whilst hosting the members from the Plateau State government, he made reference to the fact that those who are behind insecurity are trying to do this to sort of embarrass him, stating that he's a stubborn politician. And part of the criticism there was the fact that we need to separate politics from insecurity. And the governor made reference to that at some point, talking about the subtle political undertones. Mm-hmm. Whether or not there are political undertones to the problem with insecurity, when citizens hear that, what it says to them a number of times, it comes across the wrong way to citizens. It comes across as we are trying to use this to score cheap political points and cheap political sympathy. So the problem in Plateau is multifaceted. The problem with insecurity in the Northeast, it's really hydra-headed. And we hope that it will be nipped in the bud and that it's not something that will be a campaign point by the next elections. Because unfortunately, it's starting to look like that might be a campaign point for the All Progressives Congress in the coming elections.
It's a tough one, guys. It's really a tough one. But the good thing is, you need to watch that exclusive where the governor sat down, of course, with the new Central team. And the conversations definitely are pointing towards the direction that tomorrow is going to be a pivotal day in the lives of the people of Plateau State, where they all need to come out because they now have the attention of the governor. It's not that they don't have the attention of the governor, but this is quite different in the sense that a media organization such as News Central, highly respected, is now being the bridge, connecting the people to the governor and ensuring that, listen, we're not just going to gather here and talk, but let's proffer solutions. And that's our hope, that when the town hall goes into effect tomorrow morning, it will lead to a possible outcome that would indeed benefit all the people. In other parts of Jos, we've seen residents destroy checkpoints of army officials. In short, that was also a major setback, especially last week, where we saw them getting angry and saying, you guys are here, yet we're still being
attacked.
killed.
Yeah.
What's the usefulness of you being here? Leave. And they were angry. We saw them come out in numbers. And also don't forget that there was this situation whereby the residents of Jos were equally upset with what had happened, especially with the recent attack. And then they saw the governor come in, in an armored
Personnel carrier.
personal carrier. And that also got people angry and aggravated. Like, really? Why don't you come down and address us? Why are you coming? So is protection just meant for one person? However, we must look at all of these things in 360 degrees. And that's exactly what the town hall is going to do tomorrow.
Just like, I'm just going to tell you a lie. That's a good thing. This is the second town hall in Jos. The first time News Central was there, they met with the deputy governor of Plateau State, but this time it's great that the chief security officer, the #1 citizen of the state, is involved, and he's been gracious enough to grant us an audience, which would also help to, get attention for the town hall. And I must say, kudos to the management of News Central. They've been doing quite a lot and impacting life in their town hall series. It's very important that, get the stakeholders together. They say before a problem is solved, you first discuss it. And it's nice to have this honest and very sincere conversations about what is really, really going on. Because most times it's done at that, the policy and the higher levels to bring it to the people, feel their pulse, and talk about these issues with the sense of preferring solutions to them. So as we've highlighted, the governor has given his blessings. It's not just going to be a talk shop. Recommendations will be sent to those involved and to all the stakeholders to, finally return Plateau to the beautiful and peaceful place it used to be.
All right. So the town hall will be holding tomorrow. And like my colleagues have said, I just want to also re-emphasize that it's a great opportunity to bridge the gap between the government and the governed, where we hear from the government as to what has been done in terms of fighting insecurity, and we're hearing from the citizens where it pinches. But as we hope that this town hall would prefer solutions and highlight problems, it will not just stop at suggestions, that these will be implemented, because ultimately, the one great thing News Central does is to feel the pulse of the people and create a middle ground where both parties can be heard. But we do not want to see a situation where by the next town hall we have to have, things have deteriorated. We hope that this will be like an upward trajectory for the state in terms of their insecurity challenges. We'll take comments about it in a moment. You can head to YouTube to share your comments about that before we move to the drama happening in Nigeria's National Assembly. But I should probably take...
Olive, what we have on YouTube is just many, many men that are fawning over you, and you can't blame them. They're admiring you this morning.
Thank you so much for the kind words.
So many words of admiration and kindness. Is today your birthday, by?
I think it is. Every day is my birthday. Thank you, Suju Wilson, and thank you, Maurice Monnier. Thank you very much for the kind words.
Response to that.
But before we get there, let's give a special shout out to Arsenal. How could I start the show without hailing Arsenal fans?
One more step to go now. It's too early.
No.
I mean,
You celebrate every step of the way.
Arsenal.
You know, when you've got
There's only one winner. Second place is the first loser.
They've gotten to finals.
Kunduz.
And let them win it
Which
first.
team do you support?
I support Newcastle United. We won Carabao Cup two years ago. After 70 years of barrenness.
He's giving Pepe body. Just celebrate with Arsenal fans.
Okay.
Let's just celebrate.
Okay.
Let's celebrate Arsenal.
Because it's very easy for us. People always pick on Arsenal.
They may be going with a double,
Yeah, it's possible.
you know, the Premier League and the Champions League.
And Man City slipped over the weekend.
Yeah, they slipped. They had a draw.
2 points. Yeah,
2 points. But it's not yet over until it's over.
Yes.
However,
I mean, after you remember the famous Aguero. So in football, it's until the final whistle.
Until the final whistle. Fingers crossed. My thoughts and prayers are with you, Arsenal fans. I think the one thing we need to learn, it'd be great if Arsenal fans lead this country, and I'll tell you why. Because at the end of the day, Arsenal fans stay true and stay through whatever the club is dealing with.
I know Arsenal fans that defected to Man City.
They defected?
Yes, during those years of barrenness.
I feel like Arsenal fans are usually very dogged. They stay through in the days of glory and the days of failure. But, well, while Arsenal fans are not defecting, they're sticking with their party, there's a group of people that are actually defecting. Now, before we get to them, let's tell you that Nigeria Senate President Godswill Akpabio has said that he thinks the African Democratic Congress, ADC, is dead. Akpabio made the comment during plenary on Tuesday when he read a letter announcing the defection of Abia South Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe from the ADC to the Labour Party. I think that's what we didn't see coming. It will be recalled that two former presidential candidates, Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso, on Sunday dumped the ADC for the NDC. Reacting to the defection, Akpabio said, I think ADC is dead. There are also about 17 lawmakers that have announced their defection. We did say this at the point where we announced Peter Obi's movement, that we were going to see more and more movements and more defections from one party to the other. But, gentlemen, let me get your reactions first to Akpabio saying
I think we should
dead.
watch the video.
Okay, let's watch the video.
Yes.
Yeah.
From ADC and declaration for Labour Party. Maybe all those defecting from ADC should just compile everything in one paper and bring, so that we don't keep announcing. Because I think ADC is dead. Well, that depends on the constitution. Senator Ashu is asking how many times can you defect in a month? Please, you have to ask Senator Abaribe. Senator Aliyu, as an elder statesman, the question is how many times can you defect in a month? Once. But many, some have done 3 times. So that's why I'm saying, as the spirit director, that's the voice of the gods. I'm ready to keep announcing, but let us compile all, so that it doesn't look like a daily ritual. Let's compile the names. If you are defecting from Labour, you write all of you. If you are moving from ADC, you write all of you. If you are entering NDC, you write all of you. And then if you are going to Accord, you write. It's neater that way than one name. Well, this one is from an elder statesman and one of the landlords of the Senate. I write this letter to notify you and my distinguished colleagues of my decision to resign my membership of the African Democratic Congress. We will not even approve you're going there. The last time you came, we told you take it easy. It's effective immediately. Accordingly, I have joined the Labour Party. Okay. We have moved from ADC to Labour Party. My decision, Mr. President, is anchored on the now-known leadership crisis rocking the ADC, occasioned by the multiple legal issues besetting the party. and then no other explanation. You didn't even say that you consulted your constituents. All you are saying here is please accept the assurances of my highest regards. Yours truly, Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe. Abia South. So, Clark, note that Senator Abaribe has moved from ABGA to ADC, and now he has moved from ADC to Labour Party. If he brings another bone, I won't announce again.
There you have it, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio referring to the ADC as a dead party. So the fact that people are leaving a political party, does that make the party dead? Would he have said this about the People's Democratic Party that has in the longest time, been the strongest opposition prior to the emergence of the Labour Party and the ADC? PDP had its own struggles, lost a lot of its governors. How many governors do we have left in the PDP, right? But nobody ever said the PDP was dead. The ADC still has its leaders, it still has its structure, it still has those at the grassroots level. They do have a leadership matter to resolve. Whether or not it's dead is subject to debate. Also, what is the implication of Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe going back to the Labour Party? That was quite interesting. We did not see that happen.
I think the leadership crisis in the Labour Party has been resolved. So therefore, there's peace at home. He can go back. And yeah, I'm sure he'll be received like the prodigal child.
But one thing that I think stands out in all of this, when it comes to the movement of politicians, and when I say politicians, I mean all of them. No one is excluded. The ruling party and the opposition. The constant moving of politicians from political party, even lawmakers who were elected. So that's another concern. You were elected through the vehicle of a political party. When people went to the polls, it was not your name that they saw on the ballot. It was the political party you were representing. Now, there's a bit of a lacuna in that sense that when you were elected based on the fact that you were a member of that political party and you decide to then cross carpet before your tenure is over, what happens to your seat? Is your seat declared vacant? That has been a long-standing conversation, for years. And also that seems to be a lacuna.
So, Olive, there are different types of defections. There's political expediency and pragmatism. That is, they have set landmines for you and traps. And if you don't move, you will be consumed by those landmines and traps. There's also a movement of alignment for political reasons.
The lawmakers.
Yes, the lawmakers still belong to...
I'm not talking about the politicians who sometimes, in some cases...
No, I mean, the lawmakers are party members, and their parties are going through some of this leadership crisis, and if they don't move, it might hurt their chances, or they might be consumed by this. I think it just tells us at the end of the day that a number of them don't necessarily have ideologies for a number of how many political parties?
Because before
we
this
vote
became an
for
issue, we saw it in Rivers State, where the lawmakers moved from one party to another, said they were quitting because of the drama happening between the predecessor and the current governor in Rivers State. And then after a while, they had their peace accord, and the people that said they had left that political party, all of a sudden were back. After a while, we heard that they had left again. We're making a mockery of what politics should be. People should not be able to be moving up and down as carelessly as they do.
I think in all of what everyone is saying concerning this, I don't think we should blame the politicians at this point. We should blame the judiciary, whether we like it or not. That is,
for entertaining such
cases.
If
the judiciary had
been firm
from the onset
and timely,
you have issues. Go back to your party. Your party has its own constitution. Go to your party's constitution. But what we've seen here, there's been interpretation that have even proven to be very grandiose. Imagine us having spent almost 3 weeks trying to understand antebellum. Even though we understood what it was. I mean, we have a learned colleague. Sorry, I'm not your colleague. We have a learned lawyer here. And the world is so exposed now. Let me use the word exposed. What I mean individuals, because you have the explanations of all these things online. It's on your fingertips. So after you've read all of these things,
you have law reports.
You understand? You have lawyers. They come here, they explain. We go back to the courts. it now becomes a back and forth.
And we're wasting time with all
We
of
started
this.
seeing this trend, especially from the 2023 elections. Remember the issue of and Abuja, which caused a stir. Remember the issue of, oh, you know what? Look at the papers from EA,
You're right.
whatever, name it, and the courts, you know, back and forth. No, you can't do this, you can't do that. If the judiciary decides to say, listen, we're going to clean house, going forward, the law, we do know it's in the law that you cannot just jump and leave your political party unless the party has.
You can
Of
prove
course.
that the party has internal
issues
problems.
and so on. Currently, I don't blame anybody leaving the ADC because there's proof that there are a lot of their litigations.
There's a
Now, the problem I have
leadership
is
problem.
people just springing up from nowhere. People just rearing their ugly heads and saying, I am the chairman of this. Where were you?
Okay, the ridiculousness of it. Yeah.
Okay, where is Akpapa today?
He's in Apapa.
Okay, maybe eating Akpapa. I'm just saying. Where is he today? We can't find him. He's all of a sudden quiet. Where are the other actors that showed up from nowhere?
You know, I absolutely agree with
what's
your
that guy's
point.
name from the ADC?
Was Don
From nowhere, Don showed up. And there are pictures of
Don
him
that had even
flexing.
been suspended
A former wanted
in
man.
A
his
former
own-
wanted man showed up and he took his case to court, and then the lawyers would say yes. I mean, like Olive would say, the court would grant anybody. You come in
However,
and so.
no.
However,
the court does not entertain frivolous cases.
Exactly,
If the case
What
comes
is
before-
frivolous to you might not be frivolous to me.
Well, that's
because
the
our
unfortunate
interpretation from this side, most of
Yeah.
these cases, like
They're
just
frivolous.
random individuals springing up, but frivolous. But the courts
if
will
my laws
entertain
will
them.
ensure that some of these cases, when they come and they give accelerated judgment, when they realize that it's frivolous, my laws put like heavy fines.
heavy sanction. Okay, you
on
brought this
these
case.
people.
Okay,
Because
you are
it's a
now
very
you pay
stupid
10
case.
million
What-
fine.
Because how do you wake up and say you are chairman? Who
From
voted
where?
you? Where did the election happen?
Which
You know,
NWC
it's
are
like
you?
me waking up
Which
today and
NWC
saying
are
I'm
you?
the MD of New
Are you
Central.
working with?
The one
From where to where?
What made me know that we are in for, and this is not going to stop. This has become a trend until the president decides to sit down with the CJN and they eventually decide to clean house. The Nigerian Bar Association, if you look at their recent tweet, they've been highlighting how it has become frivolous or it has become a problem where people are just swinging.
But is it not
court
fellow lawyers
cases.
that's filing
Like,
this
Gbenga,
case?
Gbenga, we had lawyers who came to the show. They said lawyers too must chop now. Lawyers no go chop. When you bring the case, remember the guest who joined us and he said, look, how much did lawyers set for their fee? Do you remember the story? We took a guess when lawyers said going forward, the charges are different. And he laughed when we asked him a question. Aren't lawyers in a way entertaining?
Even
this political
sometimes,
brouhaha?
even on this show, Olive is enticed by what's going on in the legal. Sometimes you see her like this, that, should I use my legal? Am I in the right place?
Yeah,
Because
should I take some days
should
off
I port? Should I defect?
And let me
no
quickly
words.
move
I
and
have
start
no words
entertaining
to
some
you.
of these cases. Because if a lawyer charges you 5 million naira, let's just say, and he has 5 million naira from a constituency in Kogi State, where 4 local government chairmen are coming to him and say, listen, I want to file this case. 4 times 5 million is what?
20.
20M. The lawyer is
But
cooling
this
off.
is just you throwing figures. You don't know
No,
how much
I'm just
lawyers
saying.
charge.
I'm giving an instance.
Hypothetical situation.
In
It's
defense,
hypothetical.
no, it's not necessarily because lawyers are trying to extort them.
Olive.
Constitutionally.
Olive, I'm not
and
saying, I never
by-
use the
in
word,
terms-
I never use the word extort.
Okay, no.
I'm saying for
But-
their fee.
So the thing
Lawyer,
is,
do you want
Profits of
no, at the end
Politics.
of the day, everybody deserves, it's a right enshrined in the Constitution.
That.
Right to fair hearing means, it's a fundamental human right enshrined in the Constitution. And what a subset of right to fair hearing is that you're deserving of legal representation. Even if somebody catches you literally killing
Olive,
someone,
I love
you're
this.
deserving of
Olive,
legal
I love it. But
representation.
is the lawyer going to be showing up for you every time for free?
No, now.
Hey, we're saying
But
the
they
same
can
thing.
decide. It could be a
We're saying pro bono.
Anyway, just
yes,
before we wrap up this,
We need to quickly head to our
I
final
want to
story because
say
it's very
that
important.
the Senate President's comment,
This is the first time I enjoyed the Senate President. Because even me, I was laughing.
Okay, let's see
It's not every
whether.
time we're
and when he said ADC is dead, I think it was meant to be
from
like a
Abba
private
to-
conversation. That was not the right place to express himself.
No, but he must understand that private conversations, like when you're in the red chamber, there's no such
Yeah,
thing as
exactly.
private
And
conversations.
you're Senate President
Even
of
when you
Nigeria,
joke
not-
about certain things, it
Yeah,
will become
you should-
headlines.
you should be
Especially
above board.
because he has had series of incidents like that before. Prayers
I'm
in the
sorry,
email,
oh.
this is not a nightclub.
sorry,
He's
but-
had a trail of stuff like that. So whatever he says, he should know it carries weight and it will be interpreted as the official position.
I'm sorry, but I enjoyed Akpabio for this.
Okay, let's see whether our virtual audience enjoyed Akpabio. We're taking comments on YouTube. New Central TV Live is where we're streaming on YouTube, and then we will head to X. On YouTube, Michael Obieku says, a man who has spent the last 3 years doing nothing but singing on your mandate we shall stand should not be considered relevant. He's just a rubber stamp Senate President. Michael Zeus says, maybe he will now appear to Atiku, the Dubai dollar man. Wow. That Obi and Kwankwo still has organic following known as OK. NDC just reached 10 million last night, while ADC has reduced to thousands. Michael Zeus also goes on to say, Olive and Benga, please note that Senator Abaribe was never in Labour Party. He won the election under ABCA, moved to ADC, and now to NDC. I agree that the judiciary is the cause of the confusion in the parties. Keep your comments coming on YouTube. Let's now head to X to take a few comments before we come to our next story. And what Nigerians are saying on X about this update. Imagine the Senate President of the most populous black nation on earth, which is also one of the poorest, the most insecure nation on earth. Instead of talking about solutions to the problem in the Senate House, he's throwing jabs at opposition, and then the person says, Akpabio, with 2 emojis covering face.
I have a response
That's from
to that.
Anikulapo. Or what's your response?
My response to this, if I am to explain what this person just said, instead of a strangers of opposition, the opposition too caused it. And I'll explain why. The ADC met last year, they formed a coalition. And at the end of the day, truly, this morning I agree, nobody should blame the incumbent of causing their downfall. Because if they all sat down truly and
put their house together,
you know who you should pick to represent you. But amongst themselves, greed was rearing its ugly head. And when greed raised its ugly head, let me also state this here categorically. If you follow the line of politics, you find out that even some of these members that are coming out and saying I'm the chairman can either be an acceptance or a sponsor from even inside the party, within the party, cause drama within this party so that I'll be the one that would emerge.
So what would they have
done? Politics.
No, what do you think the ADC would have done differently to prevent a Nafiu Balagombi from coming out to say that he has automatic entitlement to leadership?
Okay, let's answer that question. Balagombe's issue is in court. However, look at the current situation now. Members of the same party who came and agreed for a coalition have left in droves. Apart from the fact that you have...
It might not have happened if the Balagombe situation was
well,
not. Maybe not.
Well, don't forget that some are saying already,
Okay.
some of the members are now saying that the man himself, known as Atiku Abubakar, said, listen, it must go to the north again.
Gentlemen, we have to quickly move because we're out of time. I want us to take our third story because I believe it's an extremely important story. As journalists, we must speak about it. In what is now a viral video, a soldier recently, or do I say 2 soldiers, recently assaulted a journalist, Olalekan Fakoyejo, from the cable right here in Lagos over a simple traffic comment. This incident happened around the Ikeja-Ogba area of Lagos, and according to reports gathered, Fakoyejo was riding in a keke tricycle from Ikeja to Ogba. Soldiers were directing traffic near Pleasant Event Center off Ajao Road. One soldier reportedly stopped another keke rider and ordered him to carry an extra passenger, a soldier, as some form of punishment. And this action, they said worsened the traffic jam. And Fakoyejo, stuck in this same gridlock with other passengers, made a remark saying that the soldier's action was contributing to the standstill. It was that comment that apparently didn't sit well with one of the soldiers, and what followed was an altercation where the soldier shoved him repeatedly, tried to hit him with a stick, picked from the ground, and damaged his phone. This is an eyewitness video that captured the moment, which has since now gone viral. It was also reported that for him to be able to get this eyewitness video, he had to part with the sum of 10,000 naira to the person who made this video to be able to get it. Let's take a look at the video.
They still go midtown. What do you do like this?
All right, the first question that comes to mind is, before we get to the obvious fundamental human rights abuse that has occurred in the video, what is this soldier or the army man's jurisdiction in terms of controlling traffic? I didn't realize that army and last man now shared similar responsibilities. You know, I did not realize that he's now been deployed to this civilian urban space.
I'm sure these soldiers are out there on illegal duties. If you notice, their name tags are not attached to the uniform, so it means they're not meant to be there in the first place. But I'll let you go on.
All right, that's one. Secondly is a pattern of impunity, because this is an unfortunate incident that we're seeing. Let's assume that he did not even know he's a journalist, and he did not need to know that this man is a journalist. The fact that it is a Nigerian citizen and a civilian, why did they feel the need to abuse him, to strip him of his right to dignity of human person, beat him, assault him, batter him? We haven't had an update yet or a report from the Nigerian army regarding this story, and we're hoping to follow up with it. And then there's also the angle of the 10,000 naira video payments that they had to make for the video, which then tells us about how our values and our morals as citizens have really, you know, fallen below par, to the point that you see something is wrong, you have evidence of it, but to be able to part with that evidence, you have to collect money. There's so many things that are wrong on so many levels. We'll try to reach out to the journalist and to hear his side of the story. But we will continue to highlight actions like this that are detrimental to our fundamental human rights. No Nigerian citizen should ever be treated like this. It is worse when the people who are supposed to protect your freedom and your integrity are the ones that are found to be abusing it. Well,
I think we will anchor on that note. Feel free to drop a comment or two. This is a story, like Olive said, we'll try and reach out to the journalists and find out what may have happened. And hopefully, the Nigerian army, which has been in the spotlight for negative stories of recent, might want to take a look at some internal structures and see how they can actually, you know, fine-tune and install confidence, especially from Nigerians on the Nigerian army. But then again, both sides of the story needs to be heard. We'll go on a quick review of what the top stories are for today on a Wednesday morning. Let's take a look. This morning on Breakfast Central, NNPCL signs China MOU. We promised you. We'll bring in the experts and we'll talk about it. Senate weighs in on xenophobic attacks. They're saying attack some of the companies and try to ensure that Nigerians take them over or take over them, whichever way. ADC loses 17 House of Rep members to NDC in a quick second. NIMC establishment bill, Tinubu declines assent to overdrafting errors. Well, we'll talk about that as well. And newspaper front pages will be here. You can call in. Stay with us. Welcome back. Nigeria's push to revive its struggling refineries may be entering a new phase, as we hear, as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding with two Chinese firms, Shangjiang Chemical Company Limited and Changchenggang Industrial Park, to explore a technical equity partnership for the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries. My apologies if those names were pronounced quite differently. The agreement signed in Jiangting City, China, will cover completion of outstanding work, as well as long-term operations, maintenance, and possible expansion of the facilities.
According to NNPC's Group CEO, Bashir Ojulari, the deal follows months of engagement and is aimed at unlocking sustainable profitability alongside plans for petrochemical development and gas-based industrial hubs. But the move comes amidst growing concerns over the viability of state-owned refineries after years of costly and complex rehabilitation efforts, and signals a broader shift towards private sector participation, even as government keeps the option of an outright sale on the table. Join us this morning to discuss this is Emeritus Professor of Petroleum Economics, Professor Wumi Iledare. Warm welcome to you, Prof, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. How are you all doing today?
Great, and it's great to have you. Now, Prof, just recently in an interview with News Central, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who was a military president and a two-term civilian president, said that Nigerian refineries, Nigerian state-owned refineries, are dead and can never be resurrected. Now, given Nigeria's long history of failed refinery rehabilitation despite heavy investment and billions poured into turnaround maintenance, what do you make of this news of a partnership with Chinese companies to revive moribund refineries?
I think it's a sensational news, and I like the way the press is reporting it. We need to understand that this is a memorandum of understanding, and we should not make too much out of an understanding that is yet to be fully executed. And you know, we've been there before. You can think of the celebration when AKK pipeline was initiated with a lot of people participating. It is some of the things that, 24-hour news is a little bit good, but quite at times we make a big deal out of nothing. There's no legal binding yet, and there's still some room to get approval, both regulatory approval and federal executive approval, apart from the board approval. And we just need to look at it like that and not begin to be celebrative or condemning. Every investor to have the right to look at the options, and I think from that report, you still see that this is more or less like an exploration phase. It's just like announcing the discovery of oil, and people begin to celebrate it without understanding the process of bringing the first barrel. So I'll just say we should just cross our fingers, and we have gone through all of this type of arrangement before. Ajakuta is a good example, Alaja Steel is a good example, and I think the press just need to be, don't be too pessimistic, and at the same time don't be too optimistic. That's the way I look at the understanding, apart from the merits and the merits of it, which can come later along our
Cautious optimism.
All right. Yes, you said we shouldn't be too excited, neither should we be too pessimistic. But let's talk about the Port Harcourt refinery, for example. In 2024 was declared rehabilitated. In under 6 months, everything shut down. Before we can celebrate what we have or the potential of what the future can look like, there must be accountability for action. So have we found out who is to bear accountability for, the maybe premature announcement or the Port Harcourt rehabilitation gone wrong? Where do we have information in that regard? And would you say that you're pleased with how it's been handled?
Well, again, and I want to put this in perspective. That is the biggest challenge that we have in Nigeria, what I call sustainability and continuity. I want to believe that this current team must have done a better homework than the previous team, because I think right now we have a technical board, the very best in my opinion over the years, with limited political interference. I think they will make good judgment. I'm not in there. I want to have confidence in professionals. And I said the same thing with Port Harcourt refineries. You have 4 important things to look at as a professional. Doesn't matter your status. One is efficiency, doing the right things. The other one is effectiveness, doing things the right way. And then you then balance with equity and ethics. I do not expect professionals to make judgment that does not make rational economic thinking. And again, when it comes to accountability, that is the essence of a National Assembly. Anything that goes on within a nation, the National Assembly has the constitutional right to bring them in and question them. And if they refuse to answer the question, the National Assembly has the right to file a contempt against them. Having said that, I want to believe that this professional team that we have in NNPC Limited, if we just give them a break and understand their technical capability. I will be disappointed if they make wrong judgment. And if you look at the options on the table, I think they will continue to debate the option. Yes, President Obasanjo has the insider knowledge to say whatever is said. And people can query whether these people that they are signing MOU with, whether they have technical competence. I believe that the GCEO will make that type of determination and not just rush for sentiment or what I call announcement economics. I will be disappointed if it does that, but I have confidence it wouldn't do things just to pump us off because it's an election year. So I'm going to Port Harcourt refinery issue. We can think in terms of the past executive then, and they're looking at the governance structure of Nigeria at that particular time. We are just coming into PIA era. And I want to believe that posterity should make people make good judgment, in my opinion. So I wouldn't even think that the judgment with Port Harcourt refinery was a bad judgment. It's just because of the stochastic nature that is involved in oil and gas decision-making process that we are still battling with. So I will still have reservation with this MOU until I see the ingredients supporting those type of decisions.
I mean, I like the fact that you said you still hold on to some reservations until you get to see. Well, I think our producers also were able to put out some of the graphical explanation of what and what's expected in having this Chinese company take over the refineries. One of it is to restart and expand Port Harcourt and Warri refineries via technical equity framework, which is TEF. That's what it's operating on. TEF is quite different from TAM because the TAM we did see turnaround maintenance is what gulped 2.4, almost 2.4 billion naira, dollars, I beg your pardon, $2.4 billion, and yet nothing came out of it. But let's focus on, let's see the areas. Complete outstanding works, operate and maintain for optimal performance, expansion plans, upgrade to cleaner, more profitable output, boost petrochemical and gas-based industrial hubs. The strategic impact is to unlock downstream and gas opportunities, drive long-term sustainability and profitability of NNPC assets, and the final, which is the milestone, which would now be what history will remember it for, the outcome of 6 months of engagement, which many have said will be quite different from what we saw earlier on when Nigerians were partially celebrating the Port Harcourt refinery working. I mean, even a few colleagues of ours were saying that the smoke is coming out. It shows that the oil is
working.
It's working. But working, it never worked. I think it's also good we stay retrospect with this particular situation. The average Nigerian on the street has been hearing of Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna, name them, the refineries, and the only thing you hear from their lips is Dangote, 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 because they do not believe that these refineries will come to life. Now, we have a pending situation where the Senate Committee on Public Funds have called on the former GMD of the NNPCL to come forward and talk about the discrepancies under the 210 missing funds, 210 trillion naira. In your summation as a professor, do you think it is important that as a country we close that door first while we sign this new partnership so that we can move on with clarity and purpose and transparency? Or do you feel that maybe that 210 trillion naira in the local dialect is gone? Oti Lord, we can't find it anymore. And then we should just move on. Because this is a question every Nigerian would love to ask, including you as a professor, if you were to teach in class.
Well, a very brilliant submission, and I sincerely respect your opinion. And with the 210 trillion, I'm a little bit taken aback. It might be a submission error. And I'll make myself available to help them review the book. Because you cannot add account receivable to account payable. and then sum them to be what? A sum of 210. I'm still yet to be convinced that 210 trillion naira will just disappear to a thin air. That's about 3-year budget for Nigeria. And I'm still waiting for the outcome. It reminds me of the $2.8 billion of old in Saraki's era. So let us be a little bit patient and let's see the technical ending. 210 trillion naira is a lot of money to just disappear to the air, and we cannot just cross our hands and not do anything. So I want us to just pay attention to this complex decision making that we have. I want to also continue to plead with those political players in the oil and gas sector to attempt to take their hands off. Let the PIA be well implemented. Give NNPC Limited a breather with the board and let them make economic decisions that are rational. Let us move away from adaptive expectation, making previous behavior to predict current behavior. Having said that, the T's must be dotted, must be crossed, and the I must be dotted. This is a memorandum of understanding. Nothing is legally binding yet. The process is just beginning, more or less like an exploration. And that's why I would say that we should not celebrate. And at the same time, we should not be pessimistic. If you had the opportunity to visit Dangote refinery and see the complexity of it, and I'm glad they are not using a turnaround maintenance, they are talking in terms of something like risk contract type of arrangement where the reward will be dependent on whether there's a success or no success. That's the way I will explore it. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit disappointed with some of professionals playing political games. And that's what I'm hoping we need to take away from the oil and gas sector. That's why I continue to plead with Mr. President to let them not define him as doing the job that the law did not put on him. I've never heard him call himself the Minister of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria, because he's not. There are two conditions to be minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You must be nominated and consented by the Senate. So that makes it that we don't actually have a driver on seat for the oil and gas sector who can take the ownership of this type of decision, because the Minister of Petroleum Resources, as far as the PI is concerned, is the owner, the driver of the oil and gas sector on behalf of the Federation. And I don't see the President being able to do that without making the sector more political in the decision-making process. That is factor and parcel of this MOU. It should not be driven by a political approach. It's an economic decision, and we must have a rational economic being in charge, not a political economic being. Again, these are my opinions, and I stand correct.
Now, Prof, given the luxury of hindsight and knowing where we failed in the past since independence with the running of our state-owned NNPC and given global best practices, what Petrobras in Brazil has done, Petronas in Malaysia, Saudi Aramco, and as a professor, emeritus professor of petroleum economics, the government said it's open to selling the refineries. If we're not selling, what will be the best approach or best global practice, in your own opinion, to dealing with this perennial issues of turnaround maintenance and, the refineries not working, final fix and solution to it?
There are three options, and they are all economic decisions, not political. One is to scrap it and dispose of the parts in the yard. Two is to sell it and let someone else take the responsibility to operate it. And third is for NNPC to think in terms of partnership and have investors put their money and operate it. These are economic decisions, and this is where you do basic economic evaluation and analysis and use economic indicators to be able to do it. Personally, personally, I won't sell it because of energy security issue. But at the same time, I would be professional in having conversation through my board. I personally would have preferred the board of directors taking the lead instead of the management team. And that's my opinion. And that probably will give more credibility in the negotiation phase without being opaque. Some of the problem NNPC has had in the past, and they are improving now, is the opaqueness in which the place was operated. PIA has given us the roadmap to make them make decisions that are rational from an economic point of view. But if you continue to not operate apolitically, you're going to fall into the same problem the past people fell into. Luckily, and I continue to say it, the people in the economic team, the management team today, they do not need NNPC job. So in that case, I expect them to operate independent of political sentiment. And when they don't do, the public will continue to look at NNPC today the way they have looked at it before. Listen, if we are going to look at global best practice that maximize local value, a political approach to governing a commercial institution is what we need to adopt. And it has happened in the past. We've seen companies that move from government-owned to private-owned, and they are doing well.
Or hybrid, LNG,
and
for
the
example.
essence of the board, let me just make this statement. The essence of the board is to insulate political players from professional players. And I don't think I see it happening. I just see the link between politics and the professionals still being played out in NNPC. Global best practice calls for isolation of political players from professional decision making. And NNPC has the capability to be like Petrobras because they were like that before politics got itself into NNPC Limited. I'm a living witness, and I don't say things out of sentiment. I believe NNPC Limited has capability to be better than they are if you take politics out of decision making there.
All right.
I wish them well.
You've said you believe that the NNPC, if they take politics out of their dealings, they have the capability to function better than they already have. But if we're judging and working with publicly available information, and if we're looking at previous character evidence, which is what we're to go by, you would see that, there's been lots of attempts before now that haven't been quite successful. We do not know the details of this. We know that whatever the details of the MOU are, the Chinese company is not in this because they want to be an NGO. There's some form of profit for them. But if we're to judge by the fact that these partnerships in the past have failed, what happens if, from what we've seen before, they then produce below capacity? Who bears the loss? Is it us as Nigeria? How does that impact us? And how, or is it the Chinese company? Is that something to maybe be worried about? Also, the fact that NNPC is being investigated for millions of dollars. They have matters that are still undergoing investigation. What structures have been put in place, or are there structures that have been put in place to ensure that the same institutional rot that affected them in time past does not rear its head again in this new MOU, this new agreement?
Well, I agree with you, but the way this arrangement will be executed, in my opinion, will be different from what you have had before, because this is not a turnaround maintenance in which NNPC is giving them money, I hope. This is going to be an agreement with what I call mutuality of benefit, and not necessarily a pure service type of arrangement. This is going to be something like they bring the money, they will operate, and if it's successful, they will recover their costs, just like a typical PSC arrangement type of thing that we have in place. That is my hope. But like I said, this is MOU. All of those things will be dotted out. I'm only hoping that NNPC Limited will be rational in their thinking. Yes, my friend, I agree with you the past tend to make the future a little bit worrisome. But quite often, we may need to look at players at a particular point in time and not think that they will behave the way the past players have behaved. I want to say it again with empirical evidence. The only reason why NNPC is not optimal is political interference and the ability to not let professionals be professionals by creating a buffer. NNPC Limited today is not operating under the Petroleum Act, and it's not operating under the NNPC Act of 1977. NNPC is operating under the Petroleum Industry Act era. So everybody that is interested in NNPC Limited must demand what the Petroleum Industry Act is demanding. And that is what we need to be looking at. Say, are they following the PIA prescribed progress? The answer is no, so far. Because if they are, they'll be thinking about how to raise money without depending on government input. They will even let go all of those management fees for any asset of the government. They should be convincing the government through the board to buy their asset of the federation. But we are just not following the law as a nation. So you can blame the people that are operating. I think you need to think in terms of rules of engagement. And I think that's going to be what you are going to see now with this type of invitation to Chinese company to look at. What we need to be thinking about is, are these Chinese companies competent? Do they have refinery experience? Do they have technical capability to do what NNPC Limited is asking them to do? Those are legitimate things to do. And I'm confident. I just have confidence in professionals because I meet them, I engage them, and I see what they are capable of doing. They are only delimited because of political interference. And that's what you press people should be agitating rather than blaming NNPC. NNPC Limited is not the reason why NNPC Limited is not working. It's your political system that, in my opinion, is myopic and not futuristic.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. And thanks for talking to us. Always a pleasure having you here.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Professor Ledari.
Thank you.
But I can always say this is my opinion, and I stand corrected.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Anytime.
All right.
Enjoy your day.
You as well.
But away from that story, let's tell you about another one very quickly. This time, let's go to South Africa /
Nigeria.
Senate. A heated debate ensued in the Senate as it resumed after a week-long adjournment over recent xenophobic attacks of Nigerians in South Africa. Now, following a motion moved by Akwa Ibom lawmaker Nneka Mbasi, several lawmakers demanded decisive action from the federal government over the renewed attacks on Nigerian citizens. Our National Assembly correspondent Seger Ibrahim brings us details.
The gavel was hit at 11:30 a.m., commencing plenary, which resumed after a week's adjournment. The day's business began swiftly, first with the defection of several lawmakers, with Victor Ome moving from the ADC to the NDC, Enyinnaya Abaribe from the ADC to the Labour Party, and Rufai Hanga from the NNPP to the NDC. They all cited unresolved party crisis as their reasons. It was at this point that the Senate President delivered a personal address on the gruesome killing of Mene Ogidi in Ofurum, Delta State, drawing attention once again to cases of police brutality and calling for reforms.
I call on all relevant authorities to pursue this matter to its logical conclusion and to ensure that ongoing police reforms are fully implemented so as to prevent a reoccurrence of this tragic incident.
Still in a somber mood, attention shifted to South Africa, where lawmakers say that renewed xenophobic attacks against Nigerians have reached an alarming level. Following the motion moved by Akwa Ibom lawmaker Nneka Mbasi, lawmakers took turns to demand federal government intervention as well as retaliatory steps.
There is growing outrage, grief, disappointment and frustration among Nigerians at home and abroad, arising from the perception that the response of the Nigerian authorities
has not matched the urgency, firmness, and diplomatic assertiveness expected of our country.
To kill our people as if we are helpless, we are not. By the time we turn in the economy hardship, we withdraw MTN license, we revoke DSTV license. Those people coming from Nigeria, from South Africa will have good jobs to do. Let South Africa continue with their jobs.
There is need to tread with caution, and at the same time, we must take decisive action in condemning this situation. It's very, very horrific.
At no time should we stop doing what we are elected to do here because the executive are doing it. Mr. President, this is people's chamber. This constitution gives us limitless powers over what you can say for and on behalf of Nigerians.
The Senate adopted the amended prayers in the motion, including sending a joint delegation of the Senate and the House of Representatives to visit their South African counterparts in Parliament to reach a lasting resolution. Meanwhile, the President sent several correspondences to the National Assembly seeking the confirmation of new ministerial nominees, including Joseph Tegbe and Shola Enikonlaye. From the National Assembly, Abuja, for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
Right. Let's now share with you what's coming up next on Breakfast Central as we proceed with the show this morning. President Tinubu courts global investors in France, and ADC loses 17 House of Rep members to NDC. We'll also be talking about the NIMC establishment bill. Tinubu declines assent to overdrafting errors.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. In what has been described as a major blow to the African Democratic Congress, 17 members of the House of Representatives have formally defected to the Nigerian Democratic Congress, the NDC. This comes barely 48 hours after Obi and Kwankwaso received their NDC membership cards. The NDC, led by figures like former Bayelsa Governor Senator Seriaki Dixon, is suddenly looking like the new kid on the block that everyone wants to join, as reports even say they gained millions of members in a very short time since the defection of Peter Obi and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso into their fold.
And now the NDC says that it is presenting itself as a fresh, structured alternative, free from the old baggage for many politicians seeking power in 2027. This seems like a vehicle with momentum, but of course critics are already questioning how sustainable this rapid growth is and whether it's built on solid ideological ground or just anti-establishment sentiment. Joining us for this discussion and analysis is public affairs analyst Mr. Dayo Akintemi. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Morning, Mr. Akintemi. Great to have you.
Good morning. Great
Good
to be
morning.
here.
The last time that we had you, Peter Obi was still in the ADC. Kwankwaso, I believe, was still with the ADC. A lot has happened. Now they have moved to the NDC. NDC is starting to face its own political hiccup. Before we go into the conversation proper, I want to get an overview of your thoughts about the politicians that have moved to the NDC and the fact that they move, because we're seeing the criticism from especially APC officials, those who have called them political nomads.
Well, the thing about it is that politics in Nigeria is still in a fledgling stage to where there's no such thing as ideology that holds us together. The purpose of any political party in Nigerian politics today is expressly to give you a platform to run for elections.
That's it.
So it's a special purpose vehicle. So if you're in one place and you see you can't actualize your aspiration there, nothing binds you. It's not about loyalty. It's not about adherence to a common set of principles or values. It's strictly an SPV. And that rule applies to everybody. So if you look at it, even the APC, 21 governors in the last few months defected to the APC. So it's a round-robin game that's played by everybody, understood and accepted by everyone. So criticism now that some people are jumping from here to there, they are nomads, they are this, it applies to everybody. No one person is immune from it, and nobody should be criticizing anybody else for doing it. That's the way politics is practiced. He who
comes to equity must come with clean hands.
Absolutely. So no one should blame anybody for doing
it. So no one should blame anyone?
No.
Okay. All right.
I mean, there are those that have viewed this, the crack in the opposition camp as, you know, a walkthrough for the ruling party? Do you see it that as the situation? Just only last week, they had a summit of opposition parties in Ibadan where they agreed that they were all going to support one candidate. And less than a week after, we've witnessed this crack, the movement of Kwankwaso and Obi to NDC. A fractured opposition definitely would work in favor of the ruling APC. Does this make this walk through for them, or there's still chances in the future? Because say 24 hours is a long time in politics of the opposition fixing its camp.
Well, without a doubt, a fractionated opposition is an advantage for the incumbent party. And we saw it in 2023. The fact that the opposition splits, the fact that there was the G5 working against the PDP, you know, and Peter Obi went off to Labour, all those divisions.
Because if you combine the votes of the opposition
absolutely.
in 2023, it would
the
be a landslide
second and
victory.
third, if you combine the votes of the second and third contestants, they combined, they had more than the person who won.
Yes.
So definitely a split opposition is an advantage for the incumbent. However, having said that, going back to this Ibadan declaration that they made, the fact that they have left ADC and gone to NDC simply means that for their individual aspiration, they found a better SPV. It doesn't mean that the SPV that the NDC is will still not coalesce with other opposition parties to maintain that Ibadan declaration. We simply know that Peter Obi and Kwankwaso and 17 House of Reps people yesterday and 2 senators, and I predict there will still be more defections in the next 6 days before the deadline. It doesn't necessarily mean that because people have shifted to a different vehicle, they've gotten into a different car to drive towards Aso Rock. Yes. It doesn't mean that that car will not join with other cars and go in a convoy in the same direction. So I don't think that what has happened has necessarily derailed the Ibadan declaration. Okay. I just simply think it means it brightens the chances of those who are aspiring for an individual position themselves.
That's a tough one.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I don't know if some Nigerians would agree with that. Looking at the fact that you had a certain... maybe some names that have joined in that summit or convention and agreed to provide a consensus candidate, and now they've been scattered.
Yes.
But my question to you would be, there's a particular name that's making the rounds, and that's the former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was
described by a guest here yesterday as a contestant general.
Contestant general.
of Nigeria.
And the statements are as follows, that he should have played the big brother, step back, so that the party can indeed focus. And the reason is because Zenith Labour Party, though partially inexistent, Labour Party, APC, the incumbent, and also the NDC have all said they are going to move the ticket to the south.
Even the NDC said that yesterday.
The NDC, yes. Except the ADC. So what do you make of that? Where Atiku is repeating what he had done in the PDP that led to the fight between himself and Nyesom Wike.
There's a wide swath of Nigeria who buys into this notion of rotational presidency, that it is in the interest of fairness, equity, and justice, that since the North and the South are almost equally divided in terms of population and political prowess, that the presidency should rotate, and that's what keeps us unified. So there are people who simply on principle, because the Buhari administration did its 8 years, in 2023 would have refused to support any northern candidate. Atiku was aware of that. And as a result, his candidacy actually lost a lot of steam because there were people who couldn't buy into his aspiration based on the sense of injustice. That the North has done its 8 years. How do you expect another northerner to come in this day age of enlightenment? How after 8 years of Buhari can another northerner come and say he wants to now also run for presidency? Well, that sentiment still resonates today because the South has only done 4 years under the Tinubu administration. So by rights or by the understanding between North and South, the South has another 4 years to go. So any northerner who is putting himself forward at this point in time takes the risk of alienating that wide swath of the Nigerian electorate who believes in that principle of rotational presidency in the interests of equity, fairness, and justice. For some reason, Atiku has chosen to turn a deaf ear to that rotational principle. Now, the smart parties, notice, yesterday, as soon, within a few hours of Obi and Kwankwaso going to the NDC, they immediately announced that they've zoned their ticket to the south. Part of what made Obi leave the ADC was because they refused to zone the presidency. And he knew that yours was stacked against him once it wasn't zoned to the south. And part of the reason why it wasn't zoned to the south was because Atiku has overwhelming, a preponderance of influence within that party. He has the deep pockets to be able to dictate the pace. And once they refuse to zone it to the south, any southern candidate, Amechi, Obi, any of them will be playing second fiddle to an Atiku. So you are right. Atiku is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and whatever his body language is what will prevail in the ADC. And that was essentially what drove Peter Obi. Never mind the rhetoric, the flowery rhetoric that, oh, it's because of internal crisis. It's simply because he saw there was no pathway to the ticket for him in ADC once they didn't zone it to the south.
So that is those who argue that the reason Obi left is because he felt like he couldn't have won at the primaries. That means there's some logic to that argument, if we're going by what you're saying.
He knew he couldn't win at the primaries once they didn't zone it to the south. He knew that. And as I said, what's the point of staying in a vehicle that can't get you to utopia? I mean, can't get you to Uhuru. If you know clearly, starting out, that your aspiration is dead in the water because they didn't zone, what are you staying there to do? It's incumbent on you to move. And trust me, if in the next 6 days, NDC does something, he will move again.
But do you blame a political nomad? Yes. And do you blame him? Or is just political pragmatism?
It's just being practical. That's what I said earlier, is that if the vehicle you are in can't get you where you want to go,
down.
Why are you staying in it? Yeah, absolutely. You jump down and you get on the next one.
Don't these movements and the constant change, because there are people that are wondering that what do you really stand for? What's your ideology? But you've said, we're still a nascent democracy and we can't be thinking at that level yet.
Well, I heard Bolaji Abdullahi, the publicity secretary of the ADC, maligning Obi after Obi left. He said, Obi doesn't even know their manifesto, doesn't know what they stand for. Yeah. I said, do you know your manifesto? Does any Nigerian know your manifesto? I don't think anybody has ever seen anything from the ADC saying what they stand for.
We need manifestos when we're still dealing with Maslow's hierarchy of needs type issues.
That in itself is a manifesto.
Shelter, good roads,
tell us that that's what
electricity.
Tell us that's what you're going to do.
I know that the ADC always said was, they're about the people, serving the people from the ground up. That's the one thing that the ADC, even every time that we have the national...
What does that mean? What does that mean?
But I think I just penned that down. That's a good question. We're going to hold any politician who comes here on the program going forward.
Yes.
Tell us your manifesto.
Absolutely.
Those days it used to be that we're going to put air condition on the road. We're going to give you power. We're going to give you water. Nigerians, those things are long gone.
Long gone.
They're not long. They're clear and present issues. We need to fix them.
They're the same issues we've battled with right from the 60s, 70s, up until now. The newspaper, I saw a newspaper from 1986 or 87. Same old.
It's an indictment on
we're going to give you electricity.
It's an indictment on the political class.
And now security will become one of the promises for the next...
It sounds like a broken record. Yeah. Education, health, will improve education, will improve health, will build you roads, will improve electricity, will give you water.
Will give you jobs.
Of course, will improve increased employment. Everybody says the same thing.
All right.
But realistically, why are we where we are today?
Okay, let's go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll take more conversations regarding Nigeria's political landscape and where we are headed to from here. Please stay with us. Back to Breakfast Central. The ADC and the NDC are still the conversations we're exploring this morning, and we have Mr. Dayo Akintemi still in the studio with us. The concerns about what Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, and other politicians had to deal with in the ADC that necessitated them moving to the NDC. Do you have fears that they will encounter such problems again? And there are those who speculate that they might not see Obi at the ballot or on the ballot in 2027. Do you have such concerns?
There's a palpable fear about Obi. I don't know what it is about him that generates so much furor in the public space, in the political space. When he does something, it generates a lot of public uproar. When he doesn't do anything, it generates uproar. If he moves somewhere, they criticize. If he doesn't move, they criticize. And I notice that anything, the incumbent party is so interested in Obi that even if he just wakes up and says good morning, they react to it. So I ask myself, what is so enigmatic about Obi that generates all this interest from everywhere? I predicted the moment he went to NDC. The moment he went to NDC, I predicted on another television show, I said, watch for a spanner coming in the works to the NDC, just by virtue of the fact that Obi is there. Within 24 hours, I heard that some guy was taking NDC to court, saying that they were not properly registered by INEC.
This morning, the same guy has resigned from the ADC. This morning.
So I'm vindicated. So I won't be surprised if he gets to the NDC and hurdles begin to appear in front of him as well. But I think it's the clock is running down so quickly that I doubt he can do any major shift again and still be eligible for the upcoming election. So he'll have to hunker down at some point and take the body blows and develop a shock absorber himself to where he now has reactionary capability to the missiles that are fired at him. Because, and all it just simply tells me is that they're worried about him because it seems like he came from zero to hero overnight. Who was Peter Obi 5, 6, 7 years ago, apart from a former Anambra governor? But he's showing in the 2023 elections stunned the political elites.
Yeah,
but
why doesn't Alhaji Atiku Abubakar generate such buzz since he came second in the last elections? You will be worried about the person that came second, the first runner-up, rather than the third place.
Well, if you listen to the obedience, they don't believe they came third. They don't even believe they came second. They believe they won the election. But the point is, you could have come second and not be as popular as the person who came third. It's possible that the person who came third did not yet learn how to translate his social media currency into a get the vote out drive. So that doesn't mean that his third place showing is reflective of his widespread acclaim. So I would say what I had hoped is that after 2023, he would have spent a lot of time galvanizing his troops. Perhaps even immediately after the 2023 elections, maybe set up his own political party and build it organically from the foundation, so that by the time 2027 is here, he's got a formidable base. That's not just a movement, not just an advocacy or activist movement as we have seen, but a proper political force.
Do you think he lost traction with all the distractions in the Labour Party leadership crisis? And given the luxury of hindsight, like what you recommended, starting his own party from afresh, would it have changed anything, or the Nigerian electorate is not so sophisticated? Just tell me this is the person we're voting for, and we'll vote for it. So, you can ignore all the infightings in the Labour Party.
Well, Obi seems to have developed a rabid, fanatic following that, irrespective of where he
almost
is.
cult-like.
Yes,
You hear them say Obi is my political party.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So, the crisis in the Labour Party definitely detracted from his momentum, without a doubt, because at some point he was the Labour Party. And so all the infighting, and that was what led to the infighting, was the fact that he was larger than life. He became bigger than the party itself, and those who were inside that party didn't like that, and that was what led to the infighting. So of course it detracted from his momentum in terms of his ability to rally his troops, and eventually when it overwhelmed him, he left with his structure. All the people followed him where he went, and now they followed him from ADC to where he's going. And so I think that down the road, we will see that his political sagacity or his political will coalesce, hopefully around an ideology, which I think is very youth-driven, and I think the youth of Nigeria all have common concerns. So that should be able to evolve into an ideology that should begin to drive his political trajectory.
Just to wrap up, I mean, because we're out of time,
Yes.
my final question would be, the NDC seems to be fresh. I mean, freshly baked.
New kid on the block.
New kid on the block. Everyone from the incumbent are just all smiles because they feel that there are no party structures, especially from states. So how do you want to run your primaries? You go to different states, the elections, polling unit agents, and so on. Do you foresee, as we edge closer, that maybe there will be a collapse of other political parties surrounding the NDC to form a pseudo, coalition, just to ensure that this is achieved? Do you see that?
Even the ADC, there was concern that it didn't have enough structure in place across the entire country. I mean, for example, a lot of elections are lost right there at the polling unit in terms of being able to certify the ballots that were counted. So as a political party that is serious, you need to have structures nationwide. And part of that is the requirement of INEC that before you can be registered, you have to have offices in every state. So if the NDC, being the new kid on the block, just got registered, I think a few months ago, definitely it hasn't got a nationwide spread at the moment. But well, they've got 8 months to the election. I don't think they can do it on their own because it's expensive, setting off offices, employing agents, putting technology in place in your local branches, getting campaign is quite expensive, and of course they don't have any sitting governors at the moment who have the treasury that they can dip their hand into fund the activities of their candidates, which is the way it generally works. So I would say that they do need wrongfully, without a doubt. We are not sanctioning that. They do need some sort of support, or they can't go it on their own and hope to really make a difference per se. So that's why I'm still holding out hope that Ibadan declaration will still amount to something. I still see collaboration, because I think the NDC will recognize it can't go by itself and really sort of make an impact. So we will see some alignments, realignments, coalitions, cooperations, government of national unity. We'll see various things begin to take place in the coming months.
Okay, my final question, I think, is twofold.
Yes.
I want to look at INEC first, and then I want to look at the APC. INEC has a deadline between which they should, one, submit membership register.
May 9.
Is it 9th or 10th?
9.
I think it's 10th.
May 9.
9?
Yes.
Okay. But so there's a deadline in a few days.
Yes.
And then there's also the window for primaries.
Yes.
How do you foresee them being able to ensure that they totally put house in order before these deadlines?
Them being who, INEC?
No.
NDC, okay.
Yes. Then, okay, maybe when you answer that, I'll ask the second part of the question.
Okay, well, they've got 4 days, pretty much, to submit their membership register to INEC. With the gale of defections that's occurring, and I understand that when OK is the moniker, yes, when OK defected, they got 4 million people go with them and register. I read somewhere yesterday, I don't know if it's sour grapes, that their website is not capable of taking 4 million registrations. No website in Africa can take 4 million registrations in 24 hours. It's a crash. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the claim is that they got 4 million new registrations in 48 hours. If that's the case, well, by the time the window closes for new membership, I'm sure that they would have built up a critical mass of membership to where, in terms of those who are going to belong to the party, I don't think they'll have an issue with that at all. Now, talking about moving to the primaries, now that's a different kettle of fish, because the dates on that are tight. I don't know that they've priced their nomination forms yet, or that they've given dates yet, but I think that one step at a time. They've started in the right direction, and they will continue to move forward, and I think they'll make it.
All right, so my final question is about APC.
Again?
Final. No, please, I have to ask about the APC.
Yes.
Is the APC, do you think the APC is troubled by what is happening with the political parties and the politicians, the OK movement, moving to the NDC, and I ask this because we're seeing a lot of them making commentary. Bayo Onanuga has made commentary about it. Daniel Bwala, seems very perturbed by it, by his tweets. So do you think the APC, but when you ask them, they say, oh, they don't care. That is what charlatans, they are jokers.
If they didn't care, they wouldn't bother to respond. It would, just go off their backs like water off the back of a duck. They won't care. The fact that they're bothering to respond means that they are troubled, means that they see this as something that needs to be tackled head on. And if you look at some of the responses, they're quite vitriolic, vituperative, where they are throwing brickbats and say, maligning, personal attacks on people. So they're bothered by it, but they've been tagged with trying to move Nigeria to a one-party state. So they're being a bit careful, so it doesn't seem like they're behind every crisis in every opposition party, and that they really want to dominate the political space. So. If I were the APC, I'd focus on my own. Let's have a clean, fair contest. That's at the end of the day, that's what throws up the best for Nigerians. Is if we have enough options and a level playing field for everybody.
And we discuss issues and not personalities.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akintemi, for always being here.
Always
a pleasure.
My pleasure. My pleasure always. Thank you for having me this morning.
We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll have another conversation that you will definitely love to hear. Stay with us.
Somebody asked. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. Glossient Hospitality, a destination development and management company, is gaining continental recognition for transforming Nigeria's tourism landscape through repositioning of the popular Ikogosi Warm Springs Resort located in Ekiti State, Nigeria, into a premium leisure wellness destination. The company, which operates with institutional governance standards and a long-term investment approach, recently emerged as Africa's most admired hospitality management company 2025, awarded by the Africa Brands Group. With multiple industry awards and growing influence, Glossient is positioning hospitality not just as a service sector, but as critical economic infrastructure, driving employment, SME growth, and sustainable tourism development across emerging African markets. Join us this morning to discuss this is the General Manager of Glossient Hospitality, Mr. Larry Balogun. One welcome to you, Mr. Balogun.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great to have you.
And congratulations on your award.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Very
so
well
much.
deserved. Now, Glossient Hospitality describes tourism as economic infrastructure. What does this mean in practical terms for Nigeria's economy?
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. But however, let me take you through what our organization stands for. So we're part of a holdings company called Cavista Holdings, with interest in agriculture, with Agbeyawa Farms. Agbeyawa Farms is the largest cassava farm in Nigeria. We also have what we call Matna Foods. Matna Foods is a cassava processing plant. We're an intentional organization. So not just harvest cassava, we process cassava to take advantage of, cassava value chain. Cassava, Nigeria is the highest producer of cassava in the world. Then we also have interest in technology with Cavista Tech, and also FinTech with Payzip, and of course Glossient Hospitality, the business arm which I lead. So the purpose of our leader, John Niyo-Lajide, the CEO of Cavista Holdings, coming to Nigeria, because he's based in Dallas, Texas, is three things. One, to create jobs. Two, to create even more jobs. Three, to create even more jobs. His vision is that we can't have idle Nigerians. They say the idle mind is the devil's workshop. So his vision is to create more jobs and impact lives and transform lives of Nigerians.
Right.
So Glossient Hospitality is on track, doing that in the hospitality sector.
All right, and now you've termed tourism as economic infrastructure.
Absolutely.
I would like you to expand further on why you believe tourism is economic infrastructure and the role that Glossient Hospitality has played in terms of being able to transform the the image, news, perception of Ikogosi Warm Springs?
Okay, so that word transformation is what Glossent stands for. So Ikogosi Warm Springs Resort is a national treasure. It's a natural asset. National assets now. It was, from the pictures you say, that's how Ikogosi used to look before we took over. It was dead. And to interest you to know that the warm and the cold spring, the springs at Ikogosi is the only place in the world where you have warm and cold water springs.
In the world, not just
Absolutely,
in Nigeria. Wow.
that we know of, flowing side by side and maintaining their thermal properties. This is in this country. Nigeria is a blessed country that even we, the citizens, do not appreciate what we have in this country. So we thought our leader, John Niyi-Olajide, who's our visionary, thought that, look, Nigerians are not brain dead. We have competent, experienced, capable Nigerians that can transform Nigerian assets. Nobody will change Nigeria for us. We will do it ourselves. Yeah. No foreigner will come and transform our economy. I have a stake. We all here have stake because it's our country. I don't have any other country to go. You guys may have. I don't. So we focus on Ikogosi because we know it's a natural asset, and we want to prove to the world that Nigerians, artisans, Nigerian skill, Nigerian expertise can transform our own assets, which is why everything you see that's been done at Ikogosi was done by Nigerians, Nigerian expertise. No expert, no foreigner, done by Nigerians. That is very important. And we've also been able to change the economics of the state. The staff that we have, 70% of them are from locals. These are young, energetic youths that will have been roaming the streets doing nothing. 70% are with us, and we have over 232 staff. Excuse me. And it's also interesting to know that for gender balance, 60% of the staff that we have are females. And these are young people that would have been doing, nothing, roaming the streets, gainfully employed.
That excites me.
I think that's a good one. But let's look at the increasing recognition across Africa. What differentiates Glossent from other management companies in terms of approach, how you're able to also ensure that you stand out?
Thank you. So the background is that we have a leader that is focused, that won't take nothing but excellence. So excellence is the driving factor, is the driving force behind Glossent. And our approach to transformation is fully Nigerian and a holistic approach. This is what we mean. We don't use contractors. We have all the manpower, all the skills that you need within the to develop any hospitality assets. If you want to build hotels, we have architects, designers within the group that takes care. And these are people that work with every international brand you can think of, and so taking that experience. Yeah. The exposure is the capacity is beyond even. And we're having interest in other countries, in other African countries, with Botswana. We have the past president of Botswana actually come to Ikogosi to visit Ikogosi to see by himself, and was blown away. That look, you have such assets in this country. He didn't believe it until he felt it. So that is the approach of excellence and local content. We've always said that tourism should be domesticated. You travel all over the world, you eat Chinese food, come to Nigeria, eat local, eat organic. Most of the vegetables that we consume, that our guests consume in Ikogosi, is grown in Ikogosi.
Wonderful.
So when you come, we don't eat poundo yam when you come to Ikogosi, you eat pounded yam. Do you understand? So those things is what we want people to enjoy. And as Nigerian, the goal is to promote Nigeria capacity, promote Nigeria as a tourist destination. This is something very important that I want us to know. Unfortunately, most of our youths project Nigeria negatively on social media. We need to encourage ourselves to stop that. There are wars going on in other countries of the world. Countries have challenges. We have challenges. However, Nigeria is not as bad as we try to project it. Project negativity will come back to you. Let us ensure that we always project positivity about our country. Wars are going on in the Middle East. People are still traveling to the Middle East. Why don't we project Nigeria, such that everybody will want to visit Nigeria? honestly, Nigeria is an unbelievable country. We don't know how blessed we are. We go abroad and you're like, my country is better than this. Personally, I can't live anywhere else. I have opportunities to relocate. I can't. It's not that everything is rosy. We have challenges. Facts. We have challenges. However, we should learn to project Nigeria in a positive manner. That will generate people who want to visit Nigeria. Why do people want to come for 30 December?
Because of how we've projected it on social media every December.
So let's project Nigeria positively on a daily basis.
If I don't go to Nigeria, then I'm not having a holiday.
Exactly.
I also wanted to talk about how, first of all, I must applaud how now I see a lot of people having group trips to Ikogosi Warm Springs, they and their friends. You know, they're having office retreats at Ikogosi Warm Spring. We need to have Breakfast Central at Ikogosi Warm Spring.
Absolutely.
Just putting that out there.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. But how well would you say, beyond social media projection of our tourism capacity and, you know, seeing tourism as an economic infrastructure aspect that we need to build on, how would you say the government can come in? How can we replicate this across the nation such that everybody is doing summer body? Now, they are doing summer holiday. They are not thinking of summer abroad. We only have rainy season and dry season. Let's talk about dry season in, you know, Ikogosi, dry season in Anambra State and, you know, different parts of the country.
Thank you very much. So, Ikogosi, our major business strategy is to bring MICE businesses like meetings, incentives, conferences, events, or exhibition. You just mentioned management retreats, staff retreats, destination weddings. The exact look, I saw that interests you. Ikogosi is your most preferred destination in Nigeria as we speak. It's serene. We are tired of, everybody is tired of the hustle and bustle of Lagos Metropolis, the chaos in Lagos. When you come to Ikogosi, if you want your staff to be focused, at peace, be attentive, and communicate your ideas as an organization, Ikogosi is the right place to be. And for destination weddings, you want to travel abroad for weddings, come to Ikogosi. The moment you come to Ikogosi, it will be difficult living Ikogosi. Okay? Not just destination weddings, college retreats, friends, hangouts, the environment, the serenity. Ikogosi is better experience, which is why I would love you to visit Ikogosi so you can understand, because I can't explain it enough. It's better experienced, right? You come, and again, it's important that Ikogosi is very accessible. We have 2 airports equidistant to Ikogosi. We have Ado Airport, that is just 15 minutes to the resort. We also have Akure Airport, that's 15 minutes to Ikogosi. Ikogosi is their center. You understand? So you can fly to Akure, you can fly to Ado, and we can also pick you up from anywhere in the country. That will so take away all the hassles of, oh, how do I get myself to Ikogosi? Take you, you know, from the airport to the resort, from Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, anywhere in the country to the resort, and take you back, of course, at a cost. So that is those are the things that we know that Ikogosi is a blessing, and you'll be at peace with yourself when you come to Ikogosi. You need to visit Ikogosi. Come around and feel nature. Feel clean air, not polluted air. Not polluted. Clean air.
Now, you mentioned something about how a lot of your staff are from the local community. I want to push further on that to ask how local communities and SMEs benefit directly from your company.
Okay. So, very easily. Most of our supply, those that supply us vegetables, our local needs to run in the resort are from locals, because we are in a very green and agricultural-based environment. Most of the things we need, we get locally. Some of the staff that we have are also into agriculture. So their harvests, we take off from them. That way we empower them, we empower their families and even the state. So it's a sustainable business. People work there, they support it, it's part of their heritage, because don't forget, Ikogosi is located in a place with history. Ikogosi was, the spring itself was founded over 1,000 years ago, and the volume of water has remained the same. The people have an attraction to the place, they take ownership. Now, when you have people taking ownership of a business because they have a stake, they earn a living from that location. So they take ownership and they protect it because they also know that the community benefits. So everything we do around Ikogosi, it's a sustainable business.
All right. I'd like us to touch on technology because technology is very key. I'd like to know what role technology plays, I mean, in guest experience, because whether I like it or not, I mean, we've seen IoTs, we've seen how people have benefited from them, global best practices. People are now merging, Internet of Things and guest experiences. But how have you ensured that? Because, like you said, Common Experience Africa, humans play a peculiar role in Africa's experience. How has technology also enhanced that?
Thank you. First things first, you can't take away technology from hospitality. You can also take the human interaction from hospitality and tourism. However, we've used technology to enhance guest experience, to make guest experience seamless. That is the bottom line. And to understand your guests. Check-in process is seamless. You can check in even before you get to the resort. All right. And also, making guest experience seamless. You come to the resort, you've been to our resort, we know your needs, we know your meal preferences. We don't need to ask you, for example, you like to have coffee at 6 a.m. Now, because you've gone through our process, we have your database, we have your needs. So come in, you don't need to call anybody. At 6 a.m., your coffee is in your room. You like to have lemon water in the morning. Some of us do those that work out. We want to have lemon water at 8 a.m. in the morning because we have your database. We use that to design, curate your needs. So as you're coming to Ikogosi, we know what you need. And we address you by your first name because we have your details, we have your database, we know what you like, what you don't like. Some like soft bed, some like our regular mattresses. So those things, those information, using technology, we gather that to enhance guest experience and make guest experience seamless.
So the experience is curated by individual preference?
Oh yes, of course, we have some like smoking room, some don't smoke.
Some want to swim, some don't.
Most want to swim. Again, going to that swimming, the water we have in Ikogosi, right? The water we use is piped from the spring to all the rooms. And the pool is a thermal pool, no chemicals. So it's a warm pool all year round. And I guess you use spring water. I'm not sure you have.
So this is a warm pool?
This is the warm, it's a thermal pool. Right. So it's directed from the spring, the warm part of the spring, into the water. And it's warm all year round, and the temperature is constant.
So I'm not scared of chlorine affecting my skin?
No chemicals. Even in your room, you use spring water and taking your shower.
Wonderful.
Experience. So, you see our skins glow. If you look at my colleague, that's how we are.
What are you thinking?
I think we need to move to
Benga was...
From here straight to Ikogosi. Thankfully, there are 2 airports. Yeah. Final question would be, in terms of expansion, are we looking to see this go across the continent? What's the next big thing for you? Because it seems that, you've done really well so far.
Thank you. Okay, so... we are overwhelmed. It shows that we're doing something, and the state government, in partnership with Glocent Hospitality, are doing something well. It will be interesting to know that I think you asked something about how government has been. Yeah. So what we say is that government has no business in business, but what government can do is to provide the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. The state government is leading that, especially in tourism. The leadership of the states under Governor Biodun Abayomi has been able to provide the super enabling environment for Glocent Hospitality to thrive. Don't forget, we also have business in agric with cassava. Agbayewa Farms is the largest cassava farm in the world as we speak. You can Google that. You can fact check me. With over 100,000 hectares. Okay, so Glocent for Ikogosi, all the access road to Ikogosi has been fixed. However, very importantly, when we took over Ikogosi, there was no power in Ikogosi for almost a decade. The governor assured us that he was going to provide power in 6 months. He did it in 3 months. Those are the ways that government can partner and enable, and that is also yielding results. We have 12 states that reach out to Glocent to say, look, the way you've been able to transform Ikogosi, we have assets in our state. Please come and replicate that. So those are what we are considering. And even outside the country, the people of Botswana are considering, look, these guys have done so well, and it's wholly African no experts. Yes. You know, that motivates people to say, cool, we have competent, we have capable people, and we have, very, very importantly, you know, investors with capacity and knowledge, you know, to take over this asset. So,
very interesting conversation.
For those that have assets that maybe moribund, that they think can be transformed, you can reach out to Glossent Hospitality.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And a great job you're doing at Glossent. And of course, like your slogan says, go
see equal, go see.
All right. So we shall be seeing you soon.
Come see us.
Gbenga loves to swim. I
really
no, you enjoy. When he enters that water, he will come back to work.
Yeah. Gbenga is in Papi water.
But he will just
probably Gbenga intends to stay 2 days. He'll be staying like 2 weeks.
My colleagues they won't allow that.
We'll allow it because from there,
you guys want to send me on exile. That's fine.
Thank you so much.
It's good to be here.
We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at another very important conversation concerning what will happen tomorrow, the town hall in Jos, Plateau State. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. We're back again, this time looking at the front pages of the newspapers. Plus, we'll get to highlight what to expect from tomorrow at New Central Town Hall. In the meantime, with us, we have one who would definitely prefer to go see Kogosi and one who loves to golf because it's got the greenery and it's going to enjoy swinging and teeing off, whether you like it or not. We're talking about Olusesan Okwade.
The golf master.
An accounting master, chartered
accountant general.
Accountant general, not the other general.
Good morning, Joe.
You don't know who? Finger. The one that likes to go, that doesn't want to give up now.
Okay.
Finger, you forgot.
Say it now, we're journalists.
No.
Freedom of speech.
How are you speaking in
power? I know the one that says he must be in power.
Before you know now, DSS will waiting for your, you know, they're waiting for your outside.
Yeah, good morning to you guys. It's glad to be here this morning. You know, as for Kogosi, I was listening to you. This life, there is no duplicate. Whenever you have opportunity, just flex, enjoy it. I think just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I saw some of my guys at Kogosi and I saw the way the things are. My last visit there was quite a long time while it was under the old management, and those guys gave me some. So I feel like going to Smoky Hill Golf Club in those days. From there, you know, leaked Ikogusi. Yeah, so Smoky Hill Golf Course, then just leak Ikogusi and just the life does no. There's no duplicate. Enjoy it while it lasts.
All of you, make sure you go with your wives. You know, to make the holiday very better.
What will you tell your wife? I'm going to hang out with my friends. And then
before you say you have work meeting.
No, it's not work meeting, it's hanging out with Joe Benga. His men are here. Don't you ladies have ladies are here?
Unique type of job. It's the only job that your wives can fact check you on the spot. I'm working. All she has to do is pick up the remote control to see if
No. You can say you have work retreat. Just
those,
so you know,
those are the things.
I don't entertain such. If any of you have work retreat and your wife come here, I say we don't have, it's a lie. But I thank God you're not men like that. You're men of integrity. Let's get into the papers. Nigeria Tribune, and look at the stories on the front page. Benga will take us through the front page of the Nigerian Tribune.
Okay, let's look at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. The headline says 17 reps, 1 senator follow Kwankwaso Obi to the NDC. So we are witnessing a new wave of defections, fresh defections. And analysts are saying many more to come before the deadline. The writer says ADC reviews timetable, fixes presidential primary for May 23rd. Pegs nomination at 90 million. Wow.
Only.
And a special convention holds on May 26th. We also have Jim Ovia retires as Zenith Bank chairman after 12 years. Court orders interim forfeiture of 9 Abuja properties linked to ex-governor Silva. Senate amends rules, limits leadership positions to ranking principal officers, governors, others, eyeing seats shut out. Alleged plot. I was misled, says Villa presidential staff in video statement. Customs intercept 2.3 billion naira cocaine, Ghanaian loud and others. Okay. Recovers 5.5 billion naira in Ogun, Ondo, Lagos and Oyo State. Court acquits former head of service, Oyo Ita, others for 570 million fraud case. And health. Early cannabis use used to slower cognitive development in teens, says study. They should really highlight that. And wow, the Nigerian Tribune has packed so many stories in their front page. You don't even need to read the whole newspaper, just the front page, and you understand the whole syllables. UN, EU, AU, ICJ, world leaders petition over xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Akpabio to lead fact-finding visit to South African Parliament. Digital register opposition parties in last-minute rush to beat INEC deadline following all those defections. Senators, reps, gubernatorial aspirants move across party lines ahead of Sunday's deadline. The door will be shut on Sunday. Let's start with the big story, Mr. Okwade. 17 reps, 1 senator who follow Kwankwanso will be to NDC. What do you make of this move? People have described Mr. Peter Obi as an anywhere belly-faced politician, as a nomadic, a pastoral politician. They're criticizing him for moving from one party to the other. And his supporters are saying, he's doing it for survival.
Yeah, well, whichever position they want to put to it, my position on this is, if the few challenges we are seeing in a political party cannot be endured and solved and move forward, you look at the complexity of our problem as a nation. So that means if we can't solve the problem, possibly we'll be moving from Nigeria to Niger, from Niger to Libya, from
Mr.
Libya
Okwade,
to...
are you not oversimplifying the scale of the issues? Because you say simple problems that he sees in these political parties. These problems could cost him his ambition.
So is your ambition, are you taking your ambition over the global thing that we're talking about? I said on the sister station that as far as I'm concerned, moving from one political party, the pit, for me, he has his followers and they've said their part, even when I actually posted something on the social media to say, well, wherever he goes, we'll go with him. He's actually out there to solve Nigerian problem. So when it's difficult for you to solve the crisis in a political party, he started from ABGA, moved from ABGA, left that ABGA. That ABGA is still in existence, where we have the governor of Soludo still there as governor of that state under the same political party. But at the twink of a little thing, you move to the next place. He went to PDP. He saw the crisis in PDP, went to Labour. I was thinking that with Labour, he has come to stay, solve some of the problems. Because see, all those problems we are looking at with all this internal democracy, it's obtainable across board. Even APC is not exempted from it. We might feel that at the center there seems to be peace because Mr. President has put his weight that is actually coming out. But you can imagine if it has to be within other contestants. You can know that this same internal politicking. Go to other states. I'll give you a typical example. In Oyo State, it's been crisis. Who will be the next governor? We have about 4 people under APC that are actually challenging themselves.
For the crisis to consume you, or you flee?
You don't allow the crisis to consume you, but you wait, face the challenge, and resolve it for you to move forward.
Some of these challenges are beyond. What will you do about a court order, for example?
If the court order is there, the court order is only saying that you may not be privileged to be president this year. Solve it and use the next 4 years to actually put yourself together and put those things up.
Do you know how many Nigerians, the problems of Nigeria are clear and present?
Permit me to also, let's even do a little more step.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So let's start. He was at ABGA.
Yeah.
Right? He left because he had bigger dreams to contest in a bigger platform.
Yeah.
He joined the PDP.
So, but let me interject you there. What stops him of actually using that ABGA platform, build it bigger? Don't forget that APC of today started as ACN. And they now come together, AD, metamorphosed into ACN, and now come together to form APC. And there was someone at that particular party who feels that he has a bigger dream. The dream of Ashwaji today did not start 2023. It started way back in AD. And he started building and accumulating some of those things to where we are today.
Do we agree that politics too has morphed? He doesn't need to go through that process. That's another thing. I think everyone is using...
So now it's to be moving from one place to the other.
Everyone is using...
So what gives us the impression that tomorrow, the same problem, when he moved from LP to ADC, we thought that the problem would be solved.
It was test.
But it's not good. Okay, yeah, let's go, okay?
PDP.
Yeah.
He saw the crisis in PDP, back and forth. He left.
Yeah.
I went to Labour Party.
Yeah.
As we stand now, ABGA is now supporting the incumbent.
APC.
PDP crisis. He saw the issue with the LP. He said, no, this one will take me backwards. I wouldn't progress to become president. He left the Labour Party and moved to where? ADC.
ADC.
Where is the Labour Party today? Problem, right? You can see. Now, ADC, he's there. One man says, whether you like it or not, I am going to be a man of war. I'm going to be the next president, even though I've contested 5 times. It is my turn. It must be ceded to the north. He saw it again and said, this is the same issue. And even said a video, I don't know if our producers can get that video ready. He said anywhere he goes to, any party he goes to, once they see him, whether we like it or not, I don't know, by virtue of your own thoughts, many have said he's a threat, even internally. So he saw the issue in the ADC, said, this is going to set me back. He left and went to the NDC, which, if you look at it systematically, it also belongs to someone from the southern part who rides on that same trajectory and belief that it is time for the southern side to actually be present. So he said, okay, let me pitch my tent here. This is looking very good. Where is the ADC now as we speak? Problem. So let's track back. ADC issue, LP issue, PDP issue, ABGA, not certain. So is he wrong to run away from these parties? Or you want him to remain there and manage the issues?
And you should stay back and build the party.
And my concern is, if you have a focus of achieving something, you should put at the back of your mind that there will be challenges. And my own position on this matter is, how prepared are you? When he was actually moving from LP to ADC, did you add that calculation of the challenges that you're going to face in order whether you will retract back or move forward? And I'm putting this across to you. What gives you the impression? Because we are talking politics. What gives you the impression that between now and Sunday, the deadline given by INEC, NDC will not have challenges? So where do you go from there?
Should we stay put or die trying? We have a call, I believe, from Port Harcourt.
Are you quoting 50 Cent?
Good morning.
Stay put or die trying.
Frank is calling from Rivers.
Good morning, Otis.
Good morning.
Yeah, let me react on the topic of that now. Issue of be defecting from one party to another. Yeah, I guess I've said it all. If Obi cannot settle the matter in ADC, it means that they cannot settle the problem of Nigeria. Moving from one party to party A to party B, from party B to party C, it's not they cannot solve the problem. The problem is if they have a house and there is crisis in your house, you're supposed to solve the crisis in your house before solving the problem of the community. If you cannot solve your problem in the house, it means that you cannot solve the
What if it's not the cause of this problem?
Which is the case?
But we don't want to contest primary school with anyone. We just want to be on the spot. And you can't turn anywhere. And also, you just want to spend money in primary. There's nowhere it can be president without spending money. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
You know they spend shishi. I think he's also an accountant.
For those who did not hear clearly, what Frank is saying is that if Obi cannot solve the problems within his party, how can he solve the problem of Nigeria? I want to read comments from YouTube. We're streaming live, New Central TV Live, so please head to YouTube. Charles Dennis says, point of correction, APC is a convention or convergence of ACN, AD, CPC, some faction of ABGA, PDP, and ANPP.
Exactly.
So, you know, to set that aside. Paul Lekere says, people like Arabambi were being sponsored by APC to scatter Labour Party. Mokuye Chukwemeka says, should Obi remain in a problematic place? If the challenges were not motivated by external forces, I believe Obi would have stayed. I just wish the man wasn't contesting himself. Paul Lekere says, They say you are an APC loyalist.
Well, I know that will definitely come up, but the truth just need to. My own position. Okay.
Monkey Chukwemeka says, I don't agree with you, sir. The party can be having issues that we know where it's coming from and expect Obi to remain there. The main aim is to make him to be among the candidates next year. And he says, APGA is not a national party. APC is a combination of many parties. And one more question, he said, didn't Obi try to mediate many times and it didn't work? People who have been paid to cause issues in every party he has gone to. But let's get your response. Okay,
well, to me, I will say this. I'm not a politician. I don't get involved, but we've studied them outside. And it's not peculiar to Nigeria. If you observe, when we are in the electioneering process, there are a lot of smearing of names, attacking. People will tell you that if you want to know the genesis of your grandfather, join politics. Because people will bring out some of those things and dig it out for you. And what that speaks to is, how prepared are you with some of those history that you don't even know of? Imagine what happened to your great-grandfather that your father did not even, is not aware of. And now you are coming and somebody is using it against you. How prepared are you to actually solve the problem? Where I'm addressing here is that if you have a focus of achieving certain things in the nearest future, you should be prepared there will be challenges. And with those challenges coming up, how do you intend to actually solve, even when those problems, most of the time the problem are not always being created by you. Even in the private sector where you work, you have a mission of becoming head of a particular place. There will be challenges to deter you of getting to where you're going. But if your eyes is on the bar, you look at how do we actually overcome this problem. I will tell you, whether somebody say I'm APC, but we follow the trend. As an analyst, when they started in AD, I'm sure you know it was fight for all. Some people were saying Asiwaju, the president of today, was the major problem, divided AD. When they moved from AD, they moved to AC to ACN. But as far as I'm concerned, it was actually planning for the future. And we've seen even on a lower cadre where some people, they will tell you it is your turn to be either be House of Rep or Senate. And they will say, no, it's not possible. We want this particular person to go now. And you see the person just retract back. He won't still leave the party. Obey. And few period to come, they will all work together and they will say, now, it is your turn. What I am saying is that I was thinking, I did not even, and I said this while Obi was moving to ADC, knowing fully well that the former vice president was already there ahead of him. It does not have the grounds to challenge Atiku. But people were saying Atiku will step down for. If Atiku did not even, I can say, if Atiku did not even win the election or the primaries for 2027, he's coming back 2031. And I asked them, can Obi match Atiku to bring him down? It was at that point he should have calculatively checked himself to say, can we manage the situation while I'm looking out? Manage the situation in LP, whether it's external created or internal created, and see the better place. If he had moved from LP to NDC, where we are talking of now, I think it would have been more. But one thing we should know, politicians know how to get hold of themselves. Not only at the presidential level, at the gubernatorial level, people are unfolding stories that is not palatable to the ears to see how they get it. And that's the way they play their politics.
On a realistic note, let's come down to earth, because a lot of things you said are based on theory and hypothetical situations.
Okay.
If things were perfect and all of that. The purpose of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi contesting is to fix what he calls the rot in the Nigerian system today. So getting on the ballot is the ultimate eye on the prize. It's not by how many parties did I join, how did I join, because these are also hurdles that have been, and landmines that have been set by the ruling party to prevent him, because they see him as a formidable threat. So are we being unfair in our judgment? Because at the end of the day, all he wants to do is to appear on the ballot box and contest. And
that I realize. That I realize is be on the ballot box or the ballot paper for people to see. And it's coming out. You ask yourself, is politicking about just you as an individual, do we have, as we speak, between now and the next 8 months, what is the structure? Do you know that before now, I do not even know the existence of NDC, not until when he moved. I'm asking myself, what is the structure of that political party across the 36 states and FCT? Don't forget, most of the time I tell people that the kind of system we operate is not about you as an individual that will actually make things to happen. How are you actually working to make sure that you are also represented at the National Assembly who consolidate on some of the things that you need to do? Have we forgotten that if at all you win majority and you become the president, and opposition is on the other side in the house, as we have in UK and some other area, you might have it very difficult actualizing even that your set dream. And that's where people come up to tell you that people are sabotaging their effort because they are in opposition. It's part of the politicking that we're actually talking about. And my concern is it should not be about you. I appreciate the fact that we have 17 reps, 1 senator that are actually moving up. How can we have more? Because it's not about you just becoming the president. It's about having your network base work well in such a way to make sure that you deliver the dividend of that democracy that you are actually giving to people because they can frustrate
you. Who says he won't even have those if he emerges as president?
Mr. Kayode,
yeah.
I mean, we've done this litmus test.
Yeah.
Even the current president we're talking about moved.
No, it's not movement.
In terms of party change.
It's the it's consolidation that we call that. It's not movement. Because
it was a different...
SDP was the only different party started with. So when they joined AD, AC, ACN, they were actually new party that was formed.
Yeah, because the military, there was an interruption.
There were new parties that were actually being formed, and they started moving on the trajectory.
Were those internal or external problems that came to affect those parts, that came to affect the...
They were. Now, if they were not, why are they actually moving from one place to the other?
Exactly. So Benny will tell you it's the same. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So that we can move on. Obi had 6,101,000 votes.
Yeah.
With LP.
With LP.
Was not known.
Not one rep, one councillor in the whole of Nigeria.
When we have this argument, I am not an obedient. I am apolitical. But I like to look at it from a standpoint of details.
Yeah.
LP was not known. All of a sudden, LP became popular because people were hobnobbing and joining Obi's movement.
Yeah.
So we can't say for sure. That argument, let's kill it, that, oh, who is NDC? No, let's kill it. It has been proven and tested that question has an answer.
People correlate.
But do you know that as at the time that LP was coming up and Obi was there was this time lag for you to have that prepared, not this 8 months we're talking about.
I mean, once information is out.
Guess what?
Yeah.
There's also an answer to that question.
Okay.
The awareness, political awareness, has increased from that time
till now. Yeah.
That's why you see a lot of activations going on.
Yeah.
See people driving the activations, they are youths. And they are the ones pushing, printing the T-shirts, doing all of that. So that's the answer. There's awareness, political awareness. The numbers are...
That I support and I give kudos to it.
The other argument, just as we look at this again, you've said, oh, okay, he should have waited. Have you also seen the trajectory? That as soon as Obi left LP...
The court sorted out the issue.
Yep. Immediately. Now, guess what? As soon as Obi... Have you seen the story this morning? As soon as Obi left ADC, the court has now said, no, we cannot deregister ADC. INEC has also said, no, that request to register ADC will not work. Why didn't you respond to that while he was still there immediately?
So, okay, go ahead and respond.
Well...
You know, as journalists, when we do these things out, we look at it from all angles.
When you were saying that Labour Party, he should have moved, that you would have understood better if he moved from the Labour Party directly to the NDC as opposed to moving to the ADC. Remember that his movement to the ADC was based off the premise that all of them were going to produce a consensus candidate. They all had a collective agreement that, you know, they're going to produce a consensus candidate to kick out the incumbent. But it looks like now that they've all renounced their political parties and moved to the ADC, they're now shifting the goalposts.
But you know, that is, you see, one thing I want us to understand, these politicians, they do not even trust themselves. Not to we are only discussing all these things and we are fighting ourselves. They themselves, they don't trust one another, because this that you brought out now was part of the things, and I was asking myself, consensus candidates, Obi is joining possibly because he feels he has the grounds, the obedient are behind him, he can use that to negotiate and be the consensus candidate. But I have behind my mind that there is a man, I will continue to say it, wherever you see the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is determined, is hell-bound, that this I must achieve. So you must be calculative enough.
And include him in your calculus.
In your, it's like you are doing differentiation and integration when you are dealing with the man. If you, because you won't
As you are planning for Tinubu, you should be planning for him.
So when that move happened, I was like, this man would have went different paths with his movement. And that's why I said if he has moved from LP to NDC, where we don't have Babat. See, ADC is full of big store. You have Amechi, very strong guy, Erufa, and all of them are saying they are better candidate. And I asked myself, you are relying on obedience. Where will this consensus come when everybody is putting their sword that they want to be there? Those are part of the calculation I was expecting. See, I'm an individual that feels that there should be a strong opposition, whatever way you want to put it. APC did that to PDP because that's what will make the politics to be sweet, so that everybody will not just be sitting down and say this is the path we need to go. But you must be calculative enough to know how to make those moves in such a way that you will even carry the lower cadre people. That you see, elites can look at the movement to say LP to ADC to NDC. There are some certain set of people you need to actually preach the gospel to them. As at the time that you are telling them that, sir, see, this one, no, we don't come out.
The logo has changed.
Mama, Papa, Pikin. Mama, Papa, Pikin.
Pikin of those days. Now you are moving those things. So those are areas where I feel that we need to just address those issues. This problem we are talking of is always part of politicking.
Okay.
And you must be prepared for it.
I want to read comments from YouTube. YouTube is buzzing. Sunday Adara says, the bitter truth is that Peter Obi has been vested with spiritual problems since he broke his oath of not leaving Abga under any circumstance.
Who is the DBA that gave you this information?
I got this advice from a madman. Okpanachi Suleiman says, we want Atiku to be on ballot.
Please, what kind of name combination is that? How can it be Suleiman and Okpanachi at the same time?
Maybe I'm the one with Okpanachi Suleiman.
Okay.
He's a proper Nigerian.
Yeah, very good.
We want Atiku to be on ballot if possible. Let Atiku fight. Let Atiku collapse his structure into APC and endorse Tinubu so we can dismantle them together.
I mean, you can't blame him for making such a statement because at this point, it looks like he's working for the ruling party.
Then Charles Dennis says, it's not enough to say that you're non-partisan or apolitical, but a different thing in your attitude and analysis. Obi can't wait in a place not wanted. INEC and federal government are victimizing Obi because he's a force. Paul Akeri says, allegedly, by INEC, Nigerians know what Peter Obi's score is in 2023. BJ says, you guys said the same thing about structure in 2022, 2023, and yet Obi made a major stride until there was glitch that cannot be explained till date. And okay, I've taken this one. Let's take the last one before I go ahead. Oh, sorry, Pastor Abdul Okpanachi Suleiman. Thank you very much for clarifying that. Charles Henry says, it is not about having a strong opposition in Nigeria, but for the federal government and INEC to conduct a free, fair, and credible election. Joseph Smart says, good morning, Joe. Your analysis and question about those fighting Obi, which you put to your guests this morning, is top-notch. God bless you. Please ring the bell for yourself. Do you want to ring the bell? Let me ring it for you. And final comment for now, we'll take more later. He says, in this political war, APC is fighting with bombs and bazookas. Obi has only a bulletproof vest. Yet, you want them to fight same way. The only thing Obi can do is dodge the bullets.
We haven't even started talking about issues that are bedeviling us as a country.
So let's
the multitude of problems. We're still talking about just getting the contestant on the ballot paper, and it's such a huge issue in a democracy.
And those are areas I expect us to have more concentration on.
And that's what
the conversation
matters,
should be more. Even when I look at the dailies, now it's more, and it is still the same people that will say when election time is coming, they will leave governance. But what do you read on the dailies? It's election. You don't need anything relating to governance
but then
on
again,
its own.
It's important because if we don't talk about this issue, they won't even be allowed to be on the ballot if you don't highlight some of this.
But can we look for a way to balance? If you look at all the things you've read this morning, there is nothing speaking to about attack, maybe in one place or the other, or the problem of electricity. I just came back from. Okay, you saw.
This one is in Uganda.
Okay. I didn't know Ugandan politicians are going to be voting in 2027.
Challenges of Nigerians, right? He's saying that all we're seeing is political.
Nobody is talking about. We are only hearing.
Nigerian missionaries detained in Uganda. This is on the front page of the Punch. 62 Nigerian missionaries detained in Uganda as a suspected illness spreads within their facility in Adjumani district. At least 20 of the detainees are experiencing symptoms believed to be linked to the environment in which they are being held. A 5-month-old baby being nursed by one of the detainees was reportedly hospitalized twice after seriously falling ill. And then the Nigerian set of ministers of a Christian missionary group, Life Mission, were detained by Ugandan immigration authorities over allegations of illegally operating churches.
That one is there. Nobody is talking about
Madam Abike Dabiri and Foreign Minister Bianca
the diaspora,
would also step into it and look at these issues.
I'm mentioning that missionaries they are maintaining that their organization followed due process before entering Uganda, adding that they secured invitations and approvals from relevant authority, including the Office of the Prime Minister, the Commissioner for Refugees, and the Born Again Fellowship of Uganda. We're bringing this to public light, hoping that
Foreign Minister,
the diaspora
would step in and ensure that these Nigerians, their rights are protected. And
on the dailies, nobody is talking about the big one, issue of xenophobic
this Nigeria. The headline screams xenophobia. Enough of the nonsense. Senator decry attack on Nigerians. If you saw the plenary yesterday, Senator Adams Oshiomhole was speaking tough. He said, you know, DSTV and MTN, that Nigeria should nationalize it. What sort of nonsense is this? That enough is enough. Do you think this is beyond political rhetoric, or it's about time the South African authorities speak up? Because just earlier this week, Foreign Minister Bianca Ojukwu did speak to her South African counterpart, the minister in charge of International Relations and Cooperation for the Republic of South Africa, Ronald Lamola. They are speaking at that level. But it's not trickling down to the Operation Dudula people on the streets. So you can speak high English at the presidential level, but the ordinary South Africans on the street are still molesting and still, you know, attacking foreigners, thinking they're the problems of South Africa. So how do we deal with this? Does this threat against MTN or DSTV, would they help?
Yeah, Benga, I was at a particular forum yesterday, and this formed part of our discourse. And part of the things a lot of us have said is that even within, there are crises that we are finding difficult to solve. We are now talking of providing support to the outsiders, people that are actually being killed there. When issues like this happen, the high and mighty can talk and discuss within themselves solutions and problems. But do you carry the people that are actually carrying out some of these acts? Do you carry them along? Just the same way that you hear that areas where attacks have been done, that we termed as a prone area for insecurity. There are always talk between the federal government, the state government, the security agencies, but it does not trickle down to those people that are actually aggrieved down there. So it's beyond this issue of talk. And I don't want to go the route of saying, what do we do with the likes of MTN? You know, we can look for a way and see how we get those organizations in. But how much are we creating on ourselves? Some of these companies are actually created by South Africa. And the majority of our leaders. I'm sure you can look at the quantum of the employees some of these organizations have. How much is our government doing to make sure that our own citizens come out with some of those investment. Most of the things we see is that Nigerians don't even believe in the government themselves. So they would rather invest outside the shore of the country. You see, most of the time we don't appreciate ourselves, and it's difficult to even believe in it. I think it was on Sunday, I was on the course with two South Africa. In fact, before we started the game, the first thing they did was to say, oh, Mr. Kwade, I think sincere apology for what is actually going out there in our country. And I'm like, are these guys thinking that when we get to the course, we are going to use xenophobia to attack them? But they actually gave that apology, and they are like, these are things that even the whites, South Africans are being attacked. So it's not just only the black, and they are looking at what the government are actually doing. So we should go beyond this actual discussion of the high network people. The Senate President will be going there. What are you going to discuss? How are you going to address the people that have been killed? What confidence do you want to restore to all the people that are actually been there? This is, my concern is that it's becoming a recurring decimal. These attacks on Nigeria, and why Nigeria? Most of the time, we've come there to actually contributed to the growth of their economy, as a typical Nigeria we want to do. Why must we have this as a gain of you killing some of those that have actually stayed in some of this country for those longer periods? Government must be intentional about doing something, and I think for me, what I will continue to promote is that encourage us so that we have more businesses.
How can government in Nigeria, because they're not there, they're not the South African police, there's only so much you could do to protect Nigerians. You can give advisory, you can say, avoid certain places, but how practical is it to protect Nigerians in South Africa?
It's pretty difficult to protect them there, and that's why I will always say, look at an average Chinese man. He first reside in his country, make the country much more better for us. We have a lot to offer here. So when you are sending our people out there, a lot of them are out. If you see an average Chinese man, yes, the government know about their existence in this country. They are not just here on their own voyage. They have the support of the government. But a lot of our own citizens that are out there on their personal ground. Government is not even aware that they're out there. So it becomes quite difficult to make some of those things. And that's why we say, make our country more, habitable, where you can give, that safe landing for businesses to grow. Then we can start exporting that, and that will be to the knowledge of the government and things to do.
Don't forget that the Nigerian Tribune, I just want to mention that on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, it has a header there. UN, EU, AU, ICJ World Leaders petition over xenophobic attacks in South Africa. Under there, it says Akpabio to lead fact-finding visit to South Africa Parliament.
Is that necessary?
So he's going there. However, let me also mention, because we did see Senator say that we should, MTN, they should take it from there. MTN is now a Nigerian company, whether like it or not. The CEO is Nigerian.
And
it's MTN Nigeria. Yeah, it's MTN. They will put it MTN Nigeria. So
it becomes partially. You now have Nigerians who have investments that is staying with other South African
and is it necessary?
That was actually not right in terms
for Senator Akpabio to travel to South Africa. He can watch News Central and follow. We have correspondent Bongani Siziba. She will bring all the updates.
Right.
Let's save our money.
This trip of fact finding, which other facts?
Exactly. What are you finding? Watch News Central.
Senator Abaribe's office.
That's an agency that is supposed to actually carry that and bring it to the table for you to have your decision.
Watch News Central.
We're out of time, but I need to wrap up the show on a very important note by taking a very important story. So please focus and pay attention to these words of advice that I'll be leaving you with. At the bottom left corner of the Nigerian Tribune, it says, early cannabis use linked to slower cognitive development in teens, according to a study. So if you do not know what early cannabis, what cannabis means, in other words, you can call it Mary Jane, you can call it ganja, you can call it cannabis sativa, you can call it weed, or you can call it Igbo. How do I know these names? Benga has shown me the names and, taught me in his journalistic experience as my senior brother, having done research in the subject matter.
The only way I learned about that name was when I heard, it is smoking book.
But on a serious note, because it's been portrayed especially in our entertainment industry, as
a
somewhat
fun, creative,
harmless, recreative.
You've seen them rapping edge.
I think we need to really clamp down on it. And if organizations and businesses are looking for ambassadors, you should also screen, because there are people that openly use this recreational drugs. You should screen for the type of people you promote as your ambassadors and people you encourage. We need to do better as a people.
Yeah, say no to drug abuse. Say no to drug abuse. And that is how we close today's show. Thank you for joining us on Breakfast Central. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Okwande.
Our incredible virtual audience. In fact, I need to ring bell for our virtual audience. To everyone who has dropped a comment, thank you very much. This is especially for you.
And good luck with ICANN's upcoming award at dinner. And I hope you will bag a few awards.
Always. Always. It's bypassed.
Or you are not part of people that will receive, since you are organizing committee. And you call them a ringe.
The people that will scrutinize the nominee should not be part of the organization.
I like you, an honest person. I wish our politicians would be more honest like this.
You should join NDC.
Thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.